Hey folks, this is Jeff S. True Knowledge in the house, as usual, on Wednesday evening, doing the Bleeding Edge, and I apologize that I'm a little bit awkward at the moment, but my typical regimented list of videos got thrown off there for a minute, so if you don't mind, if you work with me a little bit, and be patient with me and whatnot, I'll go ahead and drop the Marvel Studios intro. There you go, folks. You want to smoke with old Rick Boy, Rick James? I'd love to burn one with him. It'd be fun as hell. I'll tell you right now. If I ever burn one with Rick James, I'm gonna make sure I put that on video for the Bleeding Edge. All right, folks. This is the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. I am the co-host of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. Jeff S. True Knowledge in the house, known by True Knowledge to some, and many more or less. At the end of the day, of course. I've got Cyber, my co-host here. He is on the guest panel tonight, getting after it on there, dropping some solid, valuable contributions there, and he'll be moderating next Wednesday, of course. And he'll be doing a final segment with the Obi-Wan trailer and the events and reactions and whatnot of what went down today with the whole Disney Day event and whatnot. So we'll do that at the end of the show. We're starting off, of course, with the review of Captain America Civil War. Here on the guest panel this evening, along with Cyber, we have, of course, Ricky with Spoiler Force Podcast, where he is the host and producer. And Ricky, please say hello. And at the same time, if there's anything that you'd like to mention in your introduction, go ahead.
Thank you guys for having me on the show, man. I'm excited to talk about Captain America Civil War. So make sure you guys check out Spoiler Force. I am the host, producer, creator, everything on that podcast. Recently had some great voice accuracy, so check it out.
Yep. Either I'll grab it myself, or you can go ahead and send me a link for the pod, and I'll go ahead and throw that link up in the description of the video. Of course, we try to do everything we can to try to help out our fellow creators, Ricky. You know what I'm saying? We got you. So,
thank you, man.
Besides that, of course, we've got a frequent guest on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, both of the weekend shows, usually, and making, I think, his second appearance on the main show on Wednesday nights. Is Jeff B. What's up, Jeff B?
What's up? Everybody doing all right?
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that I'm trying to still get used to this whole you beat on video shit.
Well, I almost thought about doing audio, and then I was like, nah, I'll go ahead and do the video.
Yeah, man. I mean, Jeff's so handsome and whatnot that he used to just do audio and shit. Now that he's on video, I'm all fucked up. I'm sorry.
Well, so far nobody's filed any complaints or damages or anything like that.
I might be half of the closet by the end of the show. No, I'm just kidding. So beyond that, of course, we have a friend of mine, a very special friend of mine, another creator, is another host of a podcast, Odyssey. Correct, J-Rent?
Yes, a podcast Odyssey.
A podcast Odyssey. Okay, great. I'm glad that I got it at least close. Sorry that I'm jumbling things tonight and whatnot. I may not be a 10 on the the level scale and whatnot as far as what I'm bringing to the table. I might be a 9 tonight, but you know what? It's all good. No. I mean, when I'm at a 3, I'm still better than most hosts. So it's all good. I can moderate with both hands behind my back and my eyes closed. So J-Rant, of course, like he said, is the host of a podcast, Odyssey. And, of course, as a guest myself on his show tomorrow, am going to have to go see the Batman right before his show.
Hurry up.
Because I procrastinated. So I'm going to have to go rush my ass to go see the Batman so I can review it for the first time with J-Rent.
You were supposed to see it last Thursday.
I know, man. I know, dude. I'm horrible, man. I feel bad. As Cyber, I talked to Roy and I was like, I feel bad that I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, so yes, I'm going to be on there with his co-host, his semi sort of occasional co-host, and her name, of course, is Dollface Gamer, right, J-Rat?
Yeah, you can just call her Dollface.
Dollface,
Gaming.
yep.
You can
Dollface
find me
Gaming
on Facebook, Dollface Gaming.
Yep, Dollface Gaming, and she actually may join us later on during the show. She is, hanging out, doing something right now and whatnot, and she's like literally such a valuable guest that we told her, you know what, you come on whenever you want. So
she might be on already.
Oh yeah, you know what? Hold on, it's either her or Rick James.
I hope it's Rick James.
Oh, it can't be Rick James because he's dead.
Look who's talking. What's up, Dollface?
Hello.
Yo,
Sorry,
good.
me while I was eating a hot fry.
It's okay. I was talking shit about you right before you came on.
I could hear it, so
Yeah, I was like, this some ass. I was like, some asshole's coming on later. I don't know who the fuck it is. I don't even know. We'll see.
Insignificant. Just a
No.
big deal.
Hey, come on now. We treat the ladies better than that, whatnot, on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. You're already literally a featured guest right now on the show. And it's your first time, just because you're a beautiful woman. So at that point, you deserve it.
That's all you have to be, is just a beautiful woman.
Hey, Ricky, did you just drop a podcast on March 2nd?
Yeah, that should be my most recent one.
Episode like 110?
Yep.
Now that Dollface is on, I may actually come back out of the closet by the end of the show. We'll see. I don't know. But
Closet? What did I miss?
I just subscribed up on your podcast, so.
Thank you, Jeff.
Why is he in a closet?
make sure you subscribe to my BDSM group on FetLife too.
Oh, jeez.
I'm an instructor for the group.
I feel like that's not really a joke.
It's not. That's the thing. A lot of times people actually think I am joking about some of the stuff I say. They have no idea that in reality I'm literally like, I do that. I am that person.
Unrelated but funny joke. Not joke. Funny reality. Last night, Joey fell down like a little rabbit hole with like GIMP masks.
What are GIMP masks?
The latex full face masks that only have like the cutout for the mouths.
And the eyes. Some of them have the eyes too. She said, I want to make a latex mask. And I was like...
And so he went instinctively to GIMP.
It's those fucking those sex masks, the ones that are all black and shit.
Okay.
The one that, you
now you got him.
The GIMP mask.
Yeah,
GIMP mask.
I'm not into...
What he was talking about. I was like, really? It's like,
I'm not into masks. They don't do anything for me. And like when I've had women want to use them, I'm like, nah, I don't want you to do that. You know what I'm saying? It fucks up the video. I want to see faces.
Yeah.
I was trying to make like a scary mask, and that's where he went.
Well, either way, of course, Dollface is a streamer featured on Facebook. So she's not just a attractive woman. She's actually a powerhouse live streamer that gets after it live, just like we do. And, she's a great addition to the guest panel tonight. It is always wonderful to have new guests. Ricky, it's great having you. It really is. And Dollface, thank you so much for coming on and whatnot and joining us. I'm really glad that we have you. 6 is a nice number. I like it. 6 is a nice number for a show. But anyways, of course, on lesser podcasts and YouTube channels, they're scared to have more than 3 or 4 guests. It's taboo to them. Well, you know what? On the MCU's Bleeding Edge, we don't care, man. We'll put 7, 8, 9, 17 motherfuckers on here. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Hey, Cyber and I like the challenge. We don't care. We're down for whatever. I am. Cyber's not down for whatever I am. I'm actually down for whatever, literally.
I think so. I believe you.
No, I mean, they came up with the whole phrase, I'm that guy, or I'm not that guy, or whatever, for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that one or whatever, that's me. Anyways, so folks, on a side note, a serious note, I apologize. Of course, we are again doing a review, an Infinity Saga review of Captain America Civil War that Cyber so kindly reminded me today was actually, the second film in Phase 3, Cyber, or the first?
First.
First film in MCU Phase 3. Doctor Strange was next, and I believe, if I remember right, that Doctor Strange will be our review next Wednesday night, when Cyber will be hosting and moderating. So, if you end up dipping out here tonight and whatnot, just remember, come back for next Wednesday night, 9:20 p.m. Eastern, 6:20 p.m. Pacific, for our live stream review of Doctor Strange. Should be great. We'll have another new guest panel. Maybe a couple people from today, the show. We'll see. But now the intros are out of the way and whatnot, and we had a chance to introduce all of our guests and everything. Why don't we go ahead and dive into Captain America Civil War? A fabulous, wonderful film. Very well done. Very good. I want to go around real quick and just ask everybody one time a very simple question. When did you first see Civil War? And what were your thoughts of it initially? And I'll start with you, Jeff B.
I saw it when it first came out, and I loved it. Loved the hell out of it. I've watched it, I can't tell you how many times since. Outside of Winter Soldier, this was one of my favorites. Just because it introduced everybody. I mean, you got Zemo, you got Winter Soldier, you got Spider-Man, Black Panther. I mean, introduced all of them. It was a great movie. Action-packed.
Most definitely. Most definitely. J-Ran.
Yep. Well, I saw this when it came out in the theaters as well, probably like either opening night or maybe the next day after that. Like the way I did the Batman movie. And it's, honestly, I'm probably going to be the oddball in this. I think it's a good movie, but it's not in my top 5 of Marvel movies. I don't know if that's fair to say.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, when it comes to the Marvel fandom and everything and whatnot, our attitude here is always the same. You know what I'm saying? Your opinion is fine. We all have different opinions when it boils down to it with the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, like Jeff said, he made a very good point. It brought Spider-Man, and it also brought us the Black Panther. If I'm not mistaken, right? They introduced the Black Panther in this and Spider-Man.
First time he was out.
Yep, both of those. So that's when we got introduced to them, and that was really cool.
You got to remember, this was 2016. I mean, that's been quite a ways back.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay, most definitely.
Has happened.
Yes, it has.
A lot has happened.
Dollface, Captain America Civil War.
So, for one, I really like the movie, not so much for the fact that it's canon with everything else, but because it kind of pokes fun at the whole, like as a whole, the movie pokes fun at the idea of who the fuck cleans up this mess after the hero's gone through. Like that's kind of the basis of the entire movie, and like off that, it kind of gives you like the humor and the backbone of all those separate like heroes that are in there.
Most definitely. That's actually a great comment. And of course, as it was already, put out there and whatnot and said, this was the first appearance, of course, of Black Panther T'Challa in the MCU. Chadwick Boseman, who we love, and we'll always appreciate and whatnot here in the MCU's Bleeding Edge. God bless Chadwick's soul. And of course, I believe it is Black History Month and whatnot, so as a credit to Black History Month, shout out to the Chadwick Boseman family and whatnot. And again, God bless Chadwick's soul. Chadwick Boseman was a fucking soldier, man. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I'll tell you right now, I don't mind scrapping with most motherfuckers, but I would not want to step to Chadwick. I have a feeling.
That,
Go ahead.
I was saying, it's amazing that when you hear about him, that he was actually working through the sickness, to do
yes.
these movies.
Oh yes.
That was crazy. That he was sick while being in character and acting in the movies and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think I call him like that? He's an actual soldier. I mean, like he was a warrior, like a lion of men, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to overdo it or whatever, but I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where like, when I do reaction videos of the band Band-Aid that I love and I'm a huge fan of, I don't even know what to say sometimes, like about their music and whatnot, and like their energy and their chemistry as a band. Well, it's the same thing with Chadwick Boseman as a man. You know what I'm saying? And like what he did, you know, when he acted in, you know, Infinity War and Endgame and whatnot and everything, and Civil War and whatnot, and the fact that he went through all those treatments and shit and had that type of cancer and whatnot, you know, and still went in and put the time in the gym, you know, and I mean, he looked great, you know, throughout all of it, he looked great. I mean, you know, and it couldn't have been easy. So, you know, but again, on a positive note, Ricky, you know, same question that I started with when it comes to Captain America: Civil War.
I first saw Civil War opening weekend. I took my folks with me to go watch it. My parents were you know, into the whole comic book movie. So with 2016, there was, you know, Batman versus Superman at that time too. So all these heroes were fighting each other. But yeah, I took my parents, and me and my dad were like going head to head about it. My dad was Team Iron Man. I was Team Captain America.
Wow.
And, yeah, so we had a huge debate about it after the movie was done. But yeah, I loved it. I went and watched it like 2 or 3 more times after, you know, during opening weekend as well, just to try to absorb as much as I can, because, you know, the first watch is always the most it's always the most hype, so you'll miss out a lot just because there's so much fan service there.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I'm always honestly impressed, to tell you the truth. And like honestly, like I think it's really freaking cool whenever like you know, we have somebody on the show and I ask them about like, you know, their first time seeing the movie and whatnot, and they say, you know, I saw it in theaters 4 times, you know, or 5 times or whatever, you know. Like that's dedication. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and so I respect that. I mean, seriously. And you know, honestly, Ricky, what the hell was the debate between you and your dad about like Team Cap and like Team Iron Man? Was it be like I don't know, something about like the, you know, the end fight or something like that?
Yeah, you know, it was just more about like the choice of choosing what side. You know, I was with Captain America because I agreed with his methods, and I agreed with his idea.
Save it.
Yep.
Save it. Save it.
Right, I'll save it.
Save
Yeah,
it.
but we debated about that, just the ideologies of these characters.
Okay, it's my fault. It's my fault. I set that up for you. It's my fault. It's my fault. That's my
It's
fault.
all good.
Cyber, to round this out and whatnot, go ahead and drop your answer to the question.
So I ended up seeing it the opening weekend. I think it was probably like either the Saturday or Sunday there after it released in 2016. And I just remember coming out of it going, oh, is this Avengers 2.1, 2.5? You know, because we had just came from, you know, Ultron in 2015, and it totally felt like it was just another kind of Avengers movie to me. So I didn't think that was bad anyway, but still, I thought it was coming out of like Age of Ultron 2.5 basically with this, because it was basically like an Avengers movie. But all in all, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Most definitely. And I unfortunately did not get a chance to go see Civil War in the theaters. I really honestly wished I could have, because I love seeing MCU films in the movie theater. I do. I think it's like it's a must-do thing. It really is. And unfortunately, at that point, as I you know, I don't want to really like unravel or get too deep into and whatnot. At that point in my life, I was recovering from my injuries and whatnot that led to my disabilities and everything, and I basically was bedridden at that point, so I couldn't go to a movie. You know what I mean? At that point, so you know. But guess what? On a positive note, a really positive note, I'm actually like up and like alive and like living my life now and whatnot, and I'm the co-host of the fucking MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. So to go from that bed for 3.5 years to fucking this is great. You want to talk about feeling blessed? Well, hey, I'm there, okay? I feel lucky as fuck. So, just to be real. Anyways, folks, on a very, very positive note, let's actually dive into this freaking awesome review. You know, hopefully an awesome review. We'll see. So, when it comes to the start, I guess, or introduction of this film, you know, we start off with a flashback. And I don't want to get too heavy into the scene and whatnot, because it's very short and everything and whatnot, and it really doesn't, like, you know, get into anything too deep or whatever, really. But it is important to the theme of the film, sort of, in a way, I guess, or one of the themes. And that scene, of course, is literally Bucky as the Winter Soldier, stealing or whatever, or obtaining the super soldier serum packets that were developed by Shield under Anthony Stark's watch, Tony's dad. And after that scene, we go into the actual initial Avengers scene, first scene of the movie, where we have all of the Avengers, the new Avengers at that point, making their first appearances and whatnot. It's a initial opening kind of action scene and whatnot. That's kind of how they start the film, and it's really great. The whole thing is awesome. We see all the different players of that new Avengers team in it. And we see Falcon right off the bat and whatnot, after they show, I believe, Wanda and Nat, kind of like as in Secret Agent, pretending to be like civilians and whatnot on an operation. And we see Falcon with Red Wing for the first time, I believed. Right, Cyber? Well, it was the first time we saw Red Wing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw Red Wing for the first time in action. And Falcon controls and uses Red Wing to detect like a terrorist operation in a truck with terrorists in it and whatnot. It's really cool. I actually personally love seeing him using Red Wing and whatnot. I think it's awesome. And from there, we go into, the truck with the terrorists, and, we see the operation get started and whatnot. We get the new Crossbone version of, what the hell's his name? Shit.
Rumlow.
You know what?
Rumlow.
Yes, Rumlow. We get
Rumlow.
the new,
Yeah.
we get Rumlow as Crossbones from the comics, and I'll go around and ask everybody about Crossbones in a minute, but great action scenes after that, with Cap in action for the first time in the action scene and the fight scenes and whatnot and everything, throwing down, looking awesome, I want to say that, again, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit iffy with some of this stuff. I just want to make, I want to be honest, and I cannot remember exactly, but I want to say that he wore another new Captain America uniform in the film, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. So he comes in and starts beating up thugs and shit and whatnot, beating people up and shit. Crossbones and his thugs are stealing a biological weapon. And essentially, we get our first scene with Nat in action as Black Widow. Not like dressed up as Black Widow, she's still in her civilian clothes, but going hand to hand with some of the terrorist thugs and whatnot, beating the shit out of them. And we get to see Sam using Red Wing again in action, to take out a terrorist. And, we get Cap fighting Rumlow straight up one-on-one and everything, and Rumlow actually kind of like, gets after him and kind of beats the shit out of him a little bit when they start off. It kind of gives him some good shots. But overall, basically Cap ends up winning in the hand-to-hand. But Rumlow tries to set off a device, like an explosive device, like to kind of like kill himself and take Cap out. Of course, he hates what Cap did to him and whatnot in Captain America: Winter Soldier. And from there, of course, Wanda steps in and uses her magic, her chaos magic, to save Cap from the explosion. Shifts the explosion up in the air and whatnot with her powers into a building, and unfortunately killing a bunch of innocent people. So, the very positive, cool action scene, fighting scene, and whatnot ends up kind of in a negative way. But coming off of that and starting off with you, J-Rat, and then going around the panel, what did you think, first of all, of Rumlow as Crossbones?
Yeah, he played the character very well. I like that. Well, one thing I didn't like, I'll go with that first, is that he was only in it for that short time. He was in that very beginning. We didn't get to see enough of him. Like, he was there. He was pretty much a badass. He was going toe to toe with Captain America. And then when I don't know why, but he had to pull out those knives, and as soon as he pulled out those knives, that's when he started losing. He was better off just sticking with those metal fists, just punching Captain America. his character would have been great if he would have went just a little bit further than the opening scene.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes, being in a limited role or whatever can actually be cool or like impactful, just because you are in the movie for so short. But hey, I agree with you. He was really cool to me too. I would love to have seen more. I would love to have seen him actually pop up again in maybe another movie or something, or a Disney Plus series. But Cyber, what'd you think of Crossbones?
I thought he was okay. I like Frank Grillo, and I think he's a good actor and all. But I'm just like Jay Ren. He had such a short, small little part right at the beginning of the film, and I was really surprised they killed him off that quickly. I mean, especially, as Wanda has him, after he pulls the explosion and she's got him encapsulated and everything. I was really surprised they brought him back for just that little short, 5-10 minutes maybe max that they show him and just kill him off. So I think I agree with Jay Rent. I think they should have gave him a longer time. I think we should have got to see Crossbones more, because this was introduction to, the actual Crossbones versus it just being Rumlow that we saw in Civil War. So yeah, I would have to agree. Overall, I thought Grillo did a good job, and it would have been nice to have seen more of him.
Yeah, Grillo's great. Just about everything, he's great. He's just a great actor. He really is. He's really emerged in the last couple of years too. But going to you, Ricky, where are you at with Crossbones?
I wasn't too big on him in Civil War. I liked his role a lot more in Winter Soldier, just because of how they built his character up, and then with the ending to that movie, how he survived the fall. Just to see him lose so quickly in Civil War, I'm just like, they could have stretched him out a little bit more, giving him more screen time or something to do with Zemo too. But it is what it is in that movie. I thought it was great just to see Cap whoop his ass. That fight sequence was really cool. I like that they showed that he was able to stand toe to toe, which was not a lot of villains during this time of the MCU could do that with Cap too. But yeah, overall I liked it. I just wish that they extended his life more in the movie.
Well, hey, I mean, if they stretched his role out and whatnot, like the way I stretch ladies out and whatnot in the bedroom sometimes, I mean, shit, they have to make 7 fucking movies. You know what I mean? Literally, But anyways, so Dollface, what'd you think of Crossbones?
You're on mute.
Dollface.
So I was on mute.
Yo, come back. Come back to us.
I'm here. I won't do that again. It was an accident. Him coming back as Crossbones was heavy impact, very beginning of the movie. He's a really strong character, and not just his actions, not just in the fight scene, but the way that he says things and how he says things to Captain, with absolutely zero fear. And it's just also shrouded in his anger. It was super impactful. Even if he had a super small role, it was crazy impactful. And I mean, It got him a couple bits on What If, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I don't know what to call those weapons he had, those punching weapons or whatever. I don't know what the actual name would be for those or whatever. But either way, they were actually really, really fucking cool. They looked cool. They did. Very well, good device. I like whoever created that and came up with that and whatnot. That was dope. JB, your new nickname. What's up with Crossbones?
Same. I feel the same way. His time was short in the cinematic universe. I mean, I would have loved to have seen some more villainy by Crossbones. I would totally love to see him just be hanging out with Zemo, and them scheming, figuring out how to keep this Avengers thing going. And Frank Grillo said the same thing too. He wanted to stay around too. So, I don't know. I was looking some stuff up while we were talking, and I didn't realize that, his first appearance came out in 1989. And for some reason, I thought that he had been around a lot longer than that. But I didn't realize that he's a fairly newer villain in the MCU, really. But yeah, I mean, I wish they'd they kept him around. I hated to see it when he exploded. I know why they had to do that, but I really wish they had done something different. Maybe it'd been a car, or maybe one of the non-critical, actors. But it's all good. I
Yeah.
just wish he would be around for some more, because Frank Grillo is a good actor, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say that I really did like Crossbones in the comics personally. When I was younger and like really heavy in Marvel comics and whatnot, I always liked Crossbones.
Yeah,
He was
they've given us U.S. Agent, right? And, with Thunderbolts, Crossbones was part of that in the comics too, so I wish they'd kept him around. But,
yeah, but you know what? Yeah, but you know what, JB? Look, we all understand at the end of the day that when it comes to like Marvel and studios and MCU films and whatnot, and these characters and everything, they have to handle this stuff a certain way to make it work
Yeah,
from a
they're going to
cinematic
keep you on
standpoint.
your toes.
Yeah, no, it's not just that. From a cinematic standpoint, like, and like from the aspects of like, making a movie and shit and whatnot, there's just certain things that you have to do to make it work.
Right.
Like, and
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't fit with like exactly what the fandom wants with a character or something like that, or it isn't exactly comic book accurate as
Think what
much
would
as
have
you like.
happened if Wanda hadn't been there? Wanda whooped that damn chaos magic out quick, didn't she?
Think about what would have happened if I scrapped with Crossbones 1-on-1. Y'all would have took him out.
She whooped that chaos magic out quick.
Sure did.
Even surprised Cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Most definitely.
That was clutch, though. She came in clutch.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and what we know now, what we know about her now, that was just,
Yeah, barely start.
just tells us what we already know, basically. I mean, that was cluing us in how strong she was going to be.
Well, going back to you, JB, and sticking with you right off the bat for another question.
Hell
based
yeah,
on,
stick with me.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with you. I am. I'm being very loyal to you right here.
I'm on a roll.
In this
I'm on a
real time
roll.
spot, I'm being very loyal to you. But anyways, no, give me any kind of reaction or details or anything you want to say about that entire scene and whatnot now, and then after that, I'll move on to the next piece of the panel. Go ahead.
Black Widow flat smack down. And what's cool is before that, we didn't know a lot about the Red Room, and we didn't know a lot about Black Widow training as far as like all of the widows until we saw the movie. And of course, I mean, by reading comics, we had an idea, but to see her pull the moves that she pulled on the trucks with just kicking some serious ass and then doing the tumble and shooting the paralyzer darts, at the dudes and locking them up. And then he throws her down in the truck, and he drops the grenade down there, shuts the door. She has the state of mind to kick the grenade, grab the dude, turn him around, face him towards the grenade, and blow out the door. That shit was awesome. I mean, that whole stunt scene was awesome. But yeah, and that clued you in right there, and we got to see Red Wing and how powerful the drone was, and how strong Falcon is with covering himself up with the wings and the 2 missiles. That whole fight scene was awesome. We got introduced to a lot of new tech that we didn't know was there, but it was cool. I loved it. I liked it.
Great. Dollface, back to you, my friend. What did you think? We have anything that you want to throw out there? Anything that you want to contribute about that whole scene? Anything that stood out to you?
Y'all keep saying things that I have in my head, and it's like making me want to bite my tongue.
Hey, no, go ahead. Yeah, let loose. You know what I'm saying? Your opinions are valuable and appreciated and respected here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge.
Don't do that. Okay, so for like that whole for the whole pretty much first quarter of the movie, it was a lot of buildup. But I think that what's like really pivotal about it is after the whole scene with Bucky and
Wait. No, don't go that far, please. Let me.
beginning the intro scene.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah. After that quick snippet,
Okay.
it just got intense action. Like it's one of the first Marvel movies I've seen where they just jumped straight into the action. There wasn't a lot of comedy. There wasn't a lot of buildup. It was just hit you with action.
Yep.
And it showcased all the different players there. instantly. And I thought that was pretty cool because it lets you in on Black Widow not just being like, why the hell is she an Avenger?
Well, yeah, but I mean, not only that, just to
Saying, like, it really showcased Black Widow being worth a shit.
yeah, no, just to connect with that and whatnot, real quick, Dollface. I just want to mention, for everybody that was literally the induction of the new Avengers for us, for the fandom. Like, that was the first time that anybody got to see them as a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was showcasing them all working together and showcasing them all doing badass shit all at once.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. And Ricky, what do you think?
There was two parts of that entire like fight sequence that really stood out to me was when Wanda would throw Cap using her magic. I thought that was really cool. It's just like that little nod that Cap would say, like, like we practice. So they've been training and working together to learn each other's skill sets and whatnot. And I really liked Jeff brought up a great point with Black Widow fighting. I love the scene where she's in the little like marketplace and she's like fighting off the terrorist who has like the chemical, and when it's just that whole sequence of her like taking the gun and pointing the gun up, it really felt like a Mission Impossible kind of fight scene versus like a comic book movie fight scene. So I really thought that was cool to see her do hand to hand like that. And then and yeah, that her scenes, Scarlett Johansson did great with those scenes.
And thank you very much, Ricky. I appreciate you having my back on the Scarlet Witch Wanda catapulting or throwing Cap into the building and whatnot and everything, because I actually skipped over it and didn't mention that from my outline. So thank you very much for having my back like that. Thank you. Cyber.
That whole beginning sequence, just like Dollface said, it's a very action-packed. It gets right into the action. I mean, right from the get-go. And I remember sitting in the theater, and when that truck was thrusted to the entrance there and gets thrown up to take out that blockade was so awesome. I absolutely jumped to my seat in happiness. This is just so badass. And but yeah, Cap and Wanda working there with him being thrown into the window of the building by Wanda. You get a great introduction to Red Wing. He takes out a few things. You get to see Sam in action. You get to see Wanda. You get to see, all these people just kind of kick butt. I mean, between, Black Widow really getting more screen time and Sam getting more screen time, it was kind of like giving those characters a little bit more airtime to, from what we really hadn't seen them before, because, we knew about Sam. We saw a little bit of him in Civil War, or in Winter Soldier, but then all of a sudden it's he's kind of starting to become more of a bigger player, and that they kind of showcase that in Civil War here, which I really appreciated. But overall, that whole scene was so just dynamic and awesome, and overall I thought an interesting way of kind of to set off what the Civil War comic was kind of like. It's different than the actual comics, but it definitely was an interesting way of showing it cinematically.
Okay. J-Rap.
As far as the beginning, the intro of it, and that portion of the movie, I kind of it's like the most powerful character I would say would it be fair to say the Scarlet Witch, and then Captain America, and then Falcon, and then Scarlet?
I agree.
And then Black Widow. Right? It's interesting because they're more on this movie's all kind of about the ground war at the beginning, with the people. I don't want to say with lesser power, because when you think of MCU, you right away think more of Thor and you think Iron Man, you think the Hulk, you start thinking of all these people with massive powers. But this is kind of you see Scarlet Witch, she's in like you said, not in costume or in her uniform, and they're kind of doing just kind of groundwork, like what spies would do. But then they come out and they show why they are above ordinary with their fight scenes, and And that I think the Scarlet Witch too, when she lifted Captain America, that was a really good scene. You know, she's using her magic to like to move the objects, but then she's also using it to like control that blast when she killed what's his name, Crossbones, and then she used it with that gas. Right, there was a gas that she was swirling around or
Oh
fire.
yeah, that was a good scene too.
Yeah. So she was using it to like box everything in, and that's when we saw kind of like her powers kind of manifest, and we didn't really know how big she can really be as a superhero. You know, you just got a snippet of that on here. And so it's a very good opening scene for sure.
Yes, it is. It is definitely, and I think that Dollface mentioned something that really kind of like stuck in my mind a little bit, having to do with like how quickly they went right into the action in the film and whatnot. You know, it kind of makes me think of Captain America: Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? You know, because you get kind of the same deal. Of course, different kind of like action scenes and whatnot. But I mean, I wouldn't want to try to rate that action scene, against like another or something like that. That'd be a little weird, a little complicated, but it's definitely like a top one for me overall when it comes to like the MCU films and whatnot. As far as seeing the Avengers as a unit, it's always fun to see them, and I loved that rendition of the team. But as we move on and, deal with the, aftermath of Wanda's accidental explosion of the building, we get, before that, of course, before we get into, Thunderbolt Ross coming in with the Sokovia Accords and all that, we get Tony and the BARF technology for the first time. And we get like a very touchy, positive, emotional kind of almost scene with him and his parents. With him, I guess probably around, I don't know what, age 18 maybe, I think, or 17 maybe, or 19. And did a great job with the de-aging of RDJ in the film. Great job. Just real quick, I'll go around the panel. I'll start with you, Dollface. Do you have any thoughts at all, or anything to say about that whole deal with Tony and the BARF technology and the scene with Tony and his parents?
I like that. I like that he did make a comment that he needed to change the name, and obviously it never got changed. He's stuck with BARF. Also, it was like this whole emotional experience for him that he turned into a completely cold, like, I'm just here to give you a gift, because of his whole sadness over his lady. But like it was like a little reminder of like the previous bits and pieces from the rest of the Tony Stark saga. But it was really cool to see, like, from the Marvel perspective, the CG they put into that, because that was super incredible to have. Like, it wasn't just like you had a scene where it was like a blast from the past. It was seeing the young him next to the old him, like seeing that comparison and how similar they were and how realistic it was. That was incredible CG.
Yes, it was, most definitely. Ricky.
I like the CG. I thought it was really cool when I first initially watching it in theaters. That was really cool because that was something I was not expecting to see, like a young Tony, especially having it being RDJ. Like, you would assume that they just cast someone who looks similar, or they just touch up someone else's face to look like him, but they use the actual actor. So that was really cool to see that. And I also like the moment in that scene where it gives a more humanizing feel to Tony, where he's not just like the smart billionaire playboy. He has a soul at one point.
Okay.
Well, that also explained like how he became so soulless.
Yeah.
Talked about how he never coped with it and became the man he was.
Yeah.
Okay, Cyber.
That is an interesting scene, yeah, and I have to agree with Ricky on that. That seeing that for the first time back in 2016 on the big screen, that CG was really done well. I mean, I think it was brilliant that they decided to just go the CG route for making the actors look younger version of themselves. I mean, I thought it was spot on of what he looked like. If you watched him in Back to School, or if you watched RDJ in like Less Than Zero during that time frame of his career, that's what he exactly looked like, and I thought it was fantastic. And just that whole scene in naming this technology BARF, I laughed out loud at that. I thought it was so funny that they named it that. And I thought it was just a really clever little acronym they decided to go with. And I thought it kept in the theme with, I feel, who Tony is and why he would come up with these kind of silly and kind of dumb type of, acronyms that he ends up coming up with. But that whole scene was very interesting. Yes, you get that whole dynamic of how his family was, why he kind of is the way he is kind of that soullessness, like everyone's mentioned. And but at the same time, you got to think, you think about that and you see what, that whole situation. There's still some comedy element to that, along with the dramatics. And I thought that was played out very well. And I thought it was a good kind of introduction to Tony into this film, and giving us this kind of where he is at his stage and where he is in the Marvel Universe.
Okay, JB?
Reminded me of Less Than Zero, and it reminded me of Charlie Chaplin, that version of RDJ that we haven't seen in a very, very, very long time. But we saw that technology in Ant-Man at the Triskelion with Hank Pym, when they had to do the younger version of Hank, if you remember. So they've done that before, but this time it looked more, more realistic. Somehow they refined that technique. It looked really good. It looked like it was, the real deal. But yeah, it was a great name, great scene. My favorite part though was the self-cooking hot dog. I would love to have seen how that was developed, because I thought that was awesome, with the dude chasing him down for faculty, wanting to find out how much money he could get for his idea. They always do that with jokes. That's what I like. But yeah, it was a cool scene, man. It was a throwback. I liked it.
Okay, J-Rap.
It was a fine scene, introduction for Iron Man to come into the movie. I don't think it was like anything really special, but it was perfect for him. They're just showing what Tony Stark, we would imagine Tony Stark doing when he's not Iron Man, and that's like being at an MIT school, showcasing some technology. And then in this case, they're doing that where he has the glasses, and it's the hologram of him with his family on a memory. And then he talks about how expensive those glasses were, that nobody would, if you remember, he was like, nobody would pay $650 million for these glasses or something like that. They did a great job with the CGI for him. And yes, it looks just like him when he was younger, without a doubt. I'm impressed with that, how they did that. But they've been doing a good job with their CGI through the course of the whole MCU. So not very surprised.
Yeah. I think that's very, very on point, J-Red, in terms of how they have done the CGI and whatnot throughout the whole MCU and everything. They've been very reliable and consistent. But hey, at the end of the day, when it comes to Marvel Studios and how they produce films and whatnot and everything, they don't really, fuck around and make mistakes very often.
Yeah.
But so as we move forward and whatnot. Oh, hey, what's going on, Andrew? We got Andrew from Geek News Now Network in the comment section, and it's been a long time since we've had Andrew as a guest on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, but we love him to death. He's a wonderful guest, and hopefully we'll see him soon on the show. Andrew, get your ass on one of these weekend shows with me, bro, so we can get after it. So anyways, also, as a note to GNN, I think it would probably be a really good idea for Chris, the host of MCU Mondays, to have a role kind of like the one of Crossbones, where now on his shows from now on, he should only be on for 7 minutes and then leave. You know what I mean? Because honestly, the audience would probably enjoy the show better with Chris not on it, to tell you the truth. But, that's okay. It's all good. Just trying to, try to help out GNN a little bit, you know what I mean? And give them some opinions and whatnot, but, we love GNN and, we really appreciate Chris. He's great. But anyways, as we move on and actually dive into and get into one of the really, really important themes and, scenes, that sets up a large aspect of the film, and the verses with Cap and Tony throughout the movie, the dichotomy, of them being on two sides of an issue, which is of course the Sokovia Accords, which is, as a result, via Thunderbolt Ross as like their, the dropping the whole deal with them and whatnot on the Avengers, as a reaction to Age of Ultron, and what happened to Sokovia, the bombing with Wanda in the opening action scene, and the battle in New York, and just all of essentially the collateral damage and whatnot that happens when superheroes and the Avengers and shit fight villains and crap and aliens. A lot of shit gets destroyed and broken and whatnot. People die. So the UN came up with the Sokovia Accords. And Thunderbolt Ross explains them and everything and whatnot and why it's necessary and the positives and negatives and everything to the Avengers. And we get their initial discussions on the Sokovia Accords, their reactions to it and whatnot, and to the whole premise and idea of having the Avengers basically being run, and handled by the UN, essentially, by a government body, by like a council, and having the Avengers lose their independence and, become actually like kind of a government entity, or like a paramilitary kind of unit. So, I'm not going to, delve too deep into that scene. I mean, I think that kind of explains the gist of it. Ricky, what did you take out of that whole deal? Especially the initial discussions about and reactions to the Sokovia Accords of the Avengers.
I really liked that they in the movie that Ross talks about like the damage that was done by the heroes, to bring that into light, because usually, or at least with MCU, that was something that was never really discussed. If you see like all the memes and stuff on social media, they always make fun of like how the heroes like, oh yeah, we saved the day, and the background is on fire and whatnot. So I really like that in Civil War they touched up on the casualties that the heroes caused without being checked, and I really liked that. Cap coming fresh off of Winter Soldier, his mindset about the government, shield, whatever that was in charge before has changed, and he's challenged on that. And then to see Tony being someone who was kind of like a rebel in the first Avengers, being someone like, okay, we need to be put in check, we need to be responsible for what we cause, and we need to be accountable pretty much. And then just to see that the two main big guys of the Avengers are clashing their ideologies when they used to be on the opposite end.
Okay. JB.
Yeah. I think Tony was reacting the way he was because of the woman that slapped him in the chest with the picture of her son that died. I think that made him start feeling something that he never felt before, which was some responsibility for, for what he was, the damage that they were causing.
Kind of like when J-Rat, first became attracted to men. You know what I mean?
Right.
Insulted by that.
It just seemed like that.
I'm sorry, J-Rat. I'm sorry, J-Rat. Blame JB. He set that shit up for me.
It would take a lot more than that to get me upset.
Okay, good. That's good.
He was taking it personal, and then already Ross was already associating with Tony all the way back from was it the first Iron Man movie when they met in the bar? When they first introduced the Avengers Initiative, when he was talking, or was that in the Hulk movie?
I think that was
Yeah.
the Hulk
It was
movie.
in
The
the
Hulk.
credit scenes
The
of
Hulk.
one of those two movies.
It
So
was
we
the
knew
end
that-
credits of the Hulk.
We knew that he was somehow affiliated with Ross anyway. And then when he popped out in this, we just saw how abrasive, Ross is about stuff, and how it seemed like, like the thing that happened in New York, what would have happened had the Avengers not been there. True, there was damage, but Loki would have been in charge. Then the other part, the stuff he's talking about are all major things that happened that had they not been there, the result, there's no telling what it would have been. And they didn't really go into that. But the Accords, I thought was, I don't know. I saw some things in that I didn't like. I didn't like a lot of the character roles that came out during all that. I saw some sides of these characters that I didn't like. So anyway, that brought that emotion out of me during that. But it was a cool scene. I mean, and like I said, it set us up for a lot of other things, but it made you think about a lot of things too. So it was pretty cool.
Okay. Cyber.
Overall, I thought that was kind of an interesting take. That they decided to go with that's the reason for the Accords and all this stuff. Take responsibility for the damage. That's something you really hadn't seen in any superhero movie before this, and I thought it was interesting that they decided to all of a sudden just throw this kind of out there and into this to kind of bring Civil War to the forefront. Because like I said, you've never seen this before. But overall, I mean, that whole sequence is kind of interesting. How the different sides feel, and Captain's stance and Tony's stance and all that stuff like that. You get that interesting, kind of like little convoy they have at the compound with Tony talking about that gentleman that unfortunately was killed when the whole Sokovia thing happened, and that was just kind of a great kind of little prelude to that. In the end, when we get towards the end, that will tie in to what the whole story of Civil War is about. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little tie-in that they used right at the beginning of the film to kind of foresee what was going to be going on. But overall, the whole scene was interesting, and just everything everyone was saying and how they were reacting and how they all felt, I thought was kind of an interesting take and a little different for a Marvel film too as well.
Okay. Dollface, what did you think of the whole deal, the whole discussion with the Sokovia Accords, Thunderbolt Ross?
So I think it gave all of the primaries like a different light shown on them. It made some of them look soft. It made some of them look ungrateful. Some of them look careless. They didn't like the overall reaction was either scared or upset. And those who were upset, like Black Widow, who was extremely upset, it made her look really selfish. It made it look like she wasn't being a heroine for the sake of being a hero. She was doing it because she's Black Widow and this is what she does. And like then it showed the Scarlet Witch's like fear, and it made her go from like this previous scene where she's this big powerful witch who doesn't even understand her power to like almost childishly scared. And it has this like there's little like their little family that they made together. It feels like now they're not this little family anymore. Now we're all like stepchildren, and the government's going to control us. So it was a cool switch to see a completely different side of all of their personalities, and it was like within a moment they just flipped on this new personality. Like even Tony Stark, he was a completely different person. All of a sudden, he was empathetic and compassionate, and in the most Iron Man way possible, though. Like still bitching at them for coffee grounds, but still being really, really emotionally in tune to what was happening. So I thought it was a pretty cool like mix that they gave.
Okay. J-Rap.
I I didn't have. Actually, I'm sorry. When I meant says I didn't really see how they could make like the Civil War movie between like where they split up the heroes to fight each other. I felt like this movie was made just to get the heroes to fight each other. Like, what if our Captain America was fighting Iron Man? What if And this is the movie they put together and the plot they put together to make that work. I was trying to like look on Google and like who is right or wrong in this, and it's interesting just to see the different opinions of like Team Iron Man or Team Captain America. I didn't like that they were fighting each other in this movie, but they made sense for like the collateral damage, and then like Iron Man agreeing with like it should be a government based thing, and then Captain America saying it should be like not governed, and they're like, well, then let's fight about it. Um, it was cool to see. I like the introduction for the other characters that they brought on. Did they? They also brought in Ant-Man, right? Or did Ant-Man already have his own movie? Because we forgot about that.
Well, he doesn't. He didn't come in until like later in the film.
Right. But didn't he have his? Did he have his own movie before this movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he had his own movie already in there, and then they showcased him in here. Okay.
I feel like this movie is like what to tail off what you're saying. It's like to try to settle all the schoolyard arguments that we all had when we were little kids. Like, I bet Superman can beat up Batman. I bet Iron Man can beat up Captain America.
Yeah, that's how I feel like it's what they were going for in this movie.
It's like they were just trying to settle the schoolyard arguments.
Yeah, like did they really need to have a civil? Did they really need to fight in a movie? And they're like, yeah, let's make them fight, and this is what we got.
There were some slight tensions between them back in Age of Ultron already too, though, where Iron Man and Cap were chopping the wood, and he's like, "I don't trust my teammates that have secrets," and Cap's like, "Well, you haven't seen me like on that side yet." So there's a little bit of tension there, but I like what you said too, man. It's like they really just escalated from that little argument to full blown like we're throwing hands on sight.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was just me who thought that, but I was like,
Okay. Well, I really honestly just want to really quick to say that as far as like what you were saying, JB, with Thunderbolt Ross, I do want to I'm not trying to defend anything with him and whatnot. I just want to point out that, he did seem authentic when he tried to praise them also, like during the speech and whatnot, and like did kind of say like, you've done like really good things for the world and everything and whatnot. So at the end of the day, like he is a villainous fucking dude. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
like
all know there's
Ross.
an ulterior motive behind that.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, I am like literally like totally freaking like down and want to see him as Red Hulk in the MCU. They better freaking give us Red Hulk. I'm telling you right now. Seriously. If they don't give us Red Hulk, I'm going to be pissed. I mean, they've been rumoring it for freaking like years. So, we'll see what happens, I guess. But either way, as far as like the Sokovia Accords goes and all that and whatnot in that scene, I don't really have much to say about it myself. It's very interesting. The discussion is very interesting. Seeing the Avengers, discussing the whole issue and everything and whatnot, it's interesting. We see Vision next, of course, for the first time in the film, and which is nice. It's cool to see Vision again in the MCU, and I apologize. The Vision scene is before Thunderbolt drops the Sokovia Accords of the Avengers. My bad. So either way, we then get Zemo for the first time. Baron Zemo, discovering or finding a like secret agent, Hydra agent, and kicking his ass and stirring him up. And he finds all of like the Hydra agents like hidden secret shit, which includes, of course, like the little notebook from back in the day from Hydra that has all of like the activation code words, of course, for Bucky to make him into the Winter Soldier. And Zemo, is obviously a great character. We'll talk more about him during the film and whatnot, and really kind of get into him more. We're not going to really get into the scene too heavy. I don't feel like there's anything with that that's really worth like doing a question or a topic. But if anybody really quick just wants to kind of just say anything real quick about Zemo and his introduction, the table's open. Does anybody have anything?
Well, that was Karpov at the beginning. That was the guy that was reciting
Yes.
the poem to Winter Soldier.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, that's who he captured and was hanging up. So just so that everybody knows, that's who that was. So it wasn't just a random soldier there. You know what I'm saying? So everybody knows that was the guy that they showed us at the very opening scene that was reading that was activating the soldier.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody else?
Karpov.
Yeah, the introduction to Zemo was fun. I thought it was interesting that he basically
showed us how evil he was, didn't it, Cyber?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice that they had kind of started it out with him like crashing the car into the guy's car, so that he, could go up there and talk to him and try to make it kind of look like, like he was into. But like the whole premise of Zemo in this was an interesting kind of first take too, because you could see the wheels were turning in Zemo in this scene, especially when he's interrogating the guy and stuff like that. And like you could see he had really no soul, in him either. Kind of like how we talked about earlier about how Tony really has no soul until we saw that scene with BARF. And you could see that something happened to Zemo. You could tell something happened to Zemo, and that's why he's like kind of doing this. But at the same time, them kind of not like introducing him, like saying his name yet or anything like that. I mean, it was obvious it was him, but at the same time, it's kind of like a nice little like sneak in introduction to a character that, that later on we'll get to see so much more of, and who we got to see a lot more of in a great TV series that was on Disney Plus. But yeah, I thought it was a great introduction. Daniel Brühl is so amazing at the character too, and I loved him as Zemo.
He is such a good actor.
Yes, he is. I wanted to say what I've liked him the best in and whatnot, but I can't remember exactly what show or film it was. I mean, he was awesome in Falcon of the Winter Soldier, without question. Major component of that and whatnot. And honestly, as a side note, I'll actually throw that out there and whatnot. Does anybody have anything to say about like Zemo and Falcon of the Winter Soldier? No? Okay. That's fine. Nobody wants to mention the dancing scene?
Yeah, the dancing scene was the best. We all know that. And especially the fact that when that scene came out, and then everyone on social media was like, give me the Zemo cut. Give me the Zemo cut, was absolutely hilarious too. So I thought that was pretty funny.
He was on the one of the Disney shows too, also, wasn't he? The
the Falcon of the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, beyond Zemo and whatnot and everything,
he also played an awesome villain in The Kingsman.
Yes, that's true. Dollface has to go. She has a family emergency real quick, a child emergency.
Dollface, have a good night. Thanks for being here.
Ooh.
Hey, thank you for coming on, Dollface. I'm sorry.
Come back on again.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you have to leave. Before you leave, would you like to go ahead maybe and just plug your show and your streams?
So you're streaming this on Facebook as well, which is cool. I didn't know that you were doing that. But I am FB Dollface on Facebook Gaming. I am a daily game streamer. I stream for more than half of my life now. I primarily stream Fortnite, and you can catch me early mornings and late nights.
Well, I went and liked your page a few minutes ago, so
appreciate it. Thank you.
You'll see me on your page every once in a while.
Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. It was very nice for you to make your first appearance on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, and I really hope that you, of course, will do us a awesome favor and come back and give us another appearance soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, and we'll see you on Podcast Odyssey tomorrow.
We most definitely will. I will be there, and it will be an absolutely wonderful time.
All right, see you later.
I want to just go ahead and mention quick that what Dollface, of course, is talking about is the fact that I am, for the first time, luckily, blessed to have an opportunity to be a guest on Jay Rent's show, on his pod, on his Facebook Live tomorrow. What time is it, Jay Rent?
It's going to be 9 Central Standard Time, so it'd be 10 o'clock your time.
10 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Yep, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Come by, guys. It's live. You can be on the comment feed. We got a lot of people that show up. They'll ask questions. We answer questions. We're gonna laugh. That's for sure. Because not only talking about Batman, we're gonna be just bullshitting, and it'll be fun. Stop by.
That's right, folks. And you know what? Everybody knows that when it comes to like shows like that and whatnot, where you're just talking shit, having true knowledge up in that bitch is a definite positive. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I might bring to the table. You know?
Good.
Oh shit, we just lost JB. He's out. He peaced out. He was like, you know what? Fuck it, we're out. I'm out.
He said, Dollface is out. I'm out too.
Yeah. He was like, you know what? If Dollface is leaving, fuck it. You know what I mean? You know? So, it's all good, JB. We don't care. We still love you. Maybe he just wanted to make a dramatic exit. So he was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna like say goodbye. You know what I mean? You know?
Probably.
He's that cool. He's that hip that he just like bounces.
Fuck yeah.
There he is.
Holy fuck! You came back, JB.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button.
Oh shit! I thought you went to the
My bad.
Twilight Zone, bro. I didn't even know what happened.
I punched the wrong damn button on here and it bumped me out, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But anyway,
Yeah.
It's all good. You gotta, I'm gonna do that every once in a while, Dave.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You know
It's
what?
all good.
I punched some dudes in the face before. You know what I'm saying? Just because I just felt like doing it. They said something, and I was like, you know what? Bam. There
Well, I
you
was
go.
bouncing out from one thing to the next, and it hit the back button. It backed me right out. So
I thought
Okay.
you were playing peekaboo.
Oh, you know what? Just to be clear here and whatnot, I just want to point it out there, folks. I talk a lot of shit and whatnot and everything about like this and that and everything and whatnot and being a badass. And guess what? I am fucking a badass. Like seriously, like I am like literally the one disabled guy you don't want to step to be clear. But at the end of the day, I have literally got my ass beat before straight up in a fight. I've got knocked the fuck out before straight up. You know what I mean? It has happened. You know, and it's not cool. It's not fun, but it is what it is. Happens, you know. It happens to everybody. Except for J-Rat. He just knocks everybody out.
Nah, I don't.
J-Rat's got hand-to-hand combat skills like Captain America, baby. Steve Rogers.
Yeah, we can tell everybody that, sure.
Anyways. So, I apologize. I'm, the, Dollface leaving the show and whatnot has left such an impact on me and whatnot, you know, that I'm stunned. You know what I mean? So, no, thank you to Dollface for being on the show. It's a very unfortunate we didn't get her for the whole show. I would love to have had her. But of course, as always, you know, we're happy to have our guests on and give us what they can give us and everything and whatnot. And when it comes to family and kids and work and careers and all that and whatnot, you know, that's the important stuff, right? You know, like this is just for fun. So we then go, of course, from Zemo, you know, like essentially torturing the Hydra agent, you know, and trying to determine and ask about the date, you know, that we're going to get into later in the show about, you know, when Bucky as the Winter Soldier assassinated Tony's parents. You know, Tony, you know, kind of like talking or like shouting and getting pissed off and whatnot with the team. In another discussion, kind of in that same like room, you know, and on the table. From the scene earlier with the Avengers and whatnot, and you know it's further on, and they're like further. The discussion has been you know moved forward as far as about the Sokovia Accords and whatnot. And Tony is like all in for the Sokovia Accords. He's all in. You know, he of course before this has a scene with a mother from a soldier that died in Sokovia during Age of Ultron, and she blames the Avengers and Tony. No, Cyber.
Oh, that was way before
He's
that.
not a soldier. He's a student that's over in Sokovia.
Okay. You know what? Thank you, Cyber. That is why it is wonderful to have a co-host like Cyber, because you know what? He makes me look good, baby. You know what I mean? But thank you, Cyber. Most definitely. I'm sorry I got that wrong. I have no idea why the hell I thought he was a soldier. But either way, so we end up, you know, again, like I said, with Tony. He's all in for the Sokovia Accords after after the impact and whatnot of thinking about the toll of like the things the Avengers have done and whatnot and everything, and like the effects of it, the negative effects, and like how it's affected people, and people have died and whatnot and everything. So he's down for the Sokovia Accords. He's all in, and very like animated with the rest of the Avengers that have like some opposition going on. Like they have some misgivings and some hesitations and apprehension about the whole thing, and and then after that we get the Peggy Carter funeral scene with Steve Rogers there and whatnot and everything, and Sharon Carter's there eulogizing Peggy Carter. And coming out of like that scene and the Tony scene, like with the Avengers again in the discussion, and going to you, Ricky, coming out of those scenes, for you, like what kind of stood out, or like what for you is worth talking about and everything, to where you can kind of give us something.
I guess you could say just Peggy's funeral. Something that Captain America, she's like one of the few people Captain America has left of his time. So losing someone like that, emotionally gave him like distraught, and with the whole thing with the Accords and like giving him more stress. I guess what you can say is that's what it is. He probably wasn't thinking straight. But other than that, though, I think one scene that was funny though was during that funeral was. When Falcon and Cap were sitting in front, and then not Sharon, but what's the niece's name?
That's Sharon.
Is this Sharon? Oh yeah. She walks up, and then they're like, they just look at her like bro, we didn't know you were related to her, type of thing. I thought that was just pretty funny seeing Anthony Mackie's reaction to that.
Hell yeah! And you know what, folks? As the devotion to Sharon Carter, here we go. I got her on my t-shirt, baby. That's how we do it. I love me some Sharon Carter, baby. Literally like a beast in episode 3 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when she's beating up all those thugs and shit. Dope ass scene, man. Great action scene. Wonderful show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Wonderful show. I believe I ranked it 4th out of all the properties that came out in 2021 in the MCU. With, of course, the wonderful Wanda Vision ranked 1st. And, of course, people think I'm fucking retarded for making that pick, but that's okay. That's all right. Everybody's allowed to have their opinions and whatnot. Go to you, Cyber. What's worth talking about for you in those scenes?
Well, I mean, hands down, the Peggy Carter funeral scene, that's a really interesting scene. That was interesting. They decided to bring that into Captain America, the Civil War, and give us this kind of like closure kind of on Peggy a little bit. I feel is kind of why they did it. We knew she was still alive. They ended up deciding to kill her off, because, I mean, she's 100 years old too as well, just like, Cap is. And so, that whole situation, and then finding out they actually kind of finally confirmed that, Sharon is related to Peggy, and that, it's kind of funny that Captain kind of had an eye on her in Winter Soldier a little bit, and even in this, you can see he kind of had some feelings towards her, and, what better way, keep it in the family, let's, go for your, niece, basically, so, but, like, I think it was funny because, my wife pointed out, she was like, that scene happened where, they kiss, a little bit later down there, and she's like, ew, and I'm like, why are you going ew? And she's like, he just kissed his niece, and because Peggy ends up with, Captain at the end of Endgame. So it was kind of funny. I thought that was like a prelude to what was actually going to happen. So I thought that was kind of a funny little take on it.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll tell you, as a side note, I don't know what the hell is going on with the algorithms or whatever on the dating site Bumble, but I'm telling you right now, I was on there earlier today and whatnot and shit, and when I do a search on there and shit, every single fucking chick that pops up and whatnot as like being like, I guess a match for me or whatever is like some fucking like savage fucking barbarian looking bitch. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Sea donkey.
Or like some straight up like fat ass bitch that is like so fat that like she's not even like fuckable fat. She's like just straight fat. You know what I'm saying? Which is not cool. You know? I mean, come on now. You gotta at least have a shape, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so thank you, Bumble. I appreciate your algorithm, and thank you for matching me with those wonderful fucking savage bitches and whatnot. They look great.
Well,
hope I get to kiss one of them sometime. But anyways, hats off and whatnot, and shout out to Tex Not Dead in the comment section for literally with Cyber backing me up again on the show and taking care of business for me, and mentioning that the funeral with Peggy Carter was, of course, like the first time that we found out the connection with Sharon Carter, that she was Peggy Carter's niece. So thank you, Cyber, again, for handling your business and whatnot instead of me. And thanks for Tex. I appreciate you. We definitely appreciate the support in the comment section. It's wonderful. And it's nice to have people like Tex and Jordan that earlier on the team. So JB, back to you, brother. What do you got to say about those scenes?
That was the first time that they figured out Sharon and Peggy were related. That was awesome, but it was sad too. But the biggest thing out there, the most memorable thing, was the speech that Sharon gave at the podium. That jumped out and really hit your heartstrings, really hardcore. But yeah, that was the first time that they realized that they were relatives. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I got to thinking, there's Peggy Carter. So now they're doing Peggy Carter in the animated series. As Captain Carter. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I mean, yeah, it was a good scene. It was a cool scene between Cap and Black Widow. We got to see how much their relationship has grown, because she was genuinely concerned about Cap. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a good scene. I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. J-Rat.
So, and on that funeral scene, this was after Captain America kissed Sharon, or was that was before?
This was way before.
This was way before. So he kissed Sharon after the funeral.
Yes.
He kissed her after the funeral. Okay. I remember. Do y'all remember that movie Pan with Robin Williams? Do you remember he was?
Yeah.
He ran up marrying the what's it called? Wendy's daughter, because he was a kid. It gave me those Pan vibes where he ran up, even though he was old as they were, when him and Wendy were both kids, and he ran up marrying the daughter of Wendy. That kind of gave me that vibe there. But yeah, I mean they did the, what do you call it? I guess a service for just to have her in there to kind of close up that end with Peggy, because you never knew what happened to her after. What was it? Not Winter. Well, it wasn't Winter Soldier. It was Captain America: The First Avenger, right? Where he built that relation. They had that relationship during that time period. And was she at all? You have to forgive me because even Civil War it's already now 8 years that Civil War came out. So I'm trying to refresh my memory on this. 6
years.
6 years. 6 years. 6 years still. So kind of a long time. But did they go in tap into Peggy's story in the Winter Soldier?
A little bit. She was she had, I guess you could say, dementia, and then Steve would go visit her, and then she talks about how she wished she had a life with Steve, or Steve could have moved on, and then she freaks out, oh my god, you're alive, type shit.
If I would have had Peggy Carter with me and whatnot, with the amnesia shit and whatnot, and she was younger, Peggy Carter and shit and whatnot, I would have loved it. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have I would have waited and had her forget that she just gave me a blowjob, and well, then she would forget and whatnot. I would come back at her, hit her again, and get a double, get a triple. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
And Tex, he put on the comments. He said, "Hook." Yes, it was Hook, not Pat.
Yeah, Hook. Yeah, 1991.
It was Hook. Yes.
Maggie
Jesus.
Smith.
I fuck up a lot of shit. So.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Like I was just saying in the comment section, you know, honestly, I try to do a good job and whatnot, you know, when I make my outlines and everything for the movies and everything, and I want to do well with these reviews and everything, and be a good moderator and whatnot, and I think I do a pretty good job. But hey, you know what? I'm human and whatnot, and you know, I do occasionally watch the films and like just sit there and get into watching them, and I forget to like write stuff down sometimes. You know, it happens. What are you gonna do? But you know. So, from there, of course, I believe I got everybody from the panel in on that. So from there, you know, moving on, we end up getting, of course, our first appearance of Chadwick Boseman in the MCU. Not as Black Panther yet. He's just Chadwick. He's just T'Challa. And he is at a UN, like, Security Council meeting, I think, or something like that, or a panel, with his father, T'Chaka, the King of Wakanda. And we get a sort of like introduction scene like of him and whatnot, where he meets Nat, you know, and Nat's there like as a rep for the Avengers, and I believe it's like a meeting to discuss like the Sokovia Accords and the Avengers essentially, and so basically we end up getting a bombing. A bomb goes off during the meeting in the building, and it kills several people, a lot of people, and it kills T'Challa's father, the King of Wakanda, T'Chaka, and he's dead. So, of course, afterwards, you know, Sharon Carter, after Bucky is framed and put out as in the media as the responsible for the bombing there at the building and whatnot and killing the people, he frames Bucky. You know, Bucky Barnes, Steve Rogers' buddy, the Winter Soldier, and Bucky, of course, is like still in refugee status at that point and hiding. And Sharon Carter pops up and you know, is there to like, you know, have Cap and Sam's back. And let them know kind of like where Bucky's hiding at and whatnot. So she helps them out for the first time, you know, and that, you know, helps those two out for the first time, of many. And after that, of course, you know, we see Bucky actually on the street, seeing a newspaper and seeing his picture and everything, and that he's being, you know, he's being blamed and responsible for the bombing and whatnot, and knows, of course, he didn't do it. You know, and at that point, we get Steve Rogers, you know, of course, you know, always out there looking, you know, looking out for Bucky, of course, his best friend, for, you know, from growing up, you know, always looking out for him and whatnot, you know, he goes out to Bucky's hideout and whatnot and sees, like, you know, the kind of apartment or whatever room that, like, Bucky's been living in and shit, you know, and then at that point, like, military police stream in and whatnot to take Bucky, and Cap and Bucky throw down and, like, fight, like, the military police and whatnot and fight their way out. And so, you know, at that point, Steve Rogers, Captain America, at that point, essentially is all in, like, with Bucky and whatnot, like, to the point where he's down for whatever, you know? Like, he's down to, like, literally, like, go against the law at that point, you know? And kind of, like, you know, almost become a criminal. You know, because at the end of the day, Steve Rogers doesn't even believe ever that, like, Bucky could be responsible for something like that, you know? So, we then, of course, get a pretty dope scene, pretty dope chase/action montage scene or whatever, where we get, of course, the first appearance of the Black Panther in the MCU. What a freaking, like, seriously, bomb-ass, like, historic moment, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. I mean, honestly. And a great introduction, too, like, into the film. Good job by, like, Marvel Studios and whatnot, and the people that made the film with how they handled that appearance and whatnot. So we saw the Black Panther for the first time. in action. He's chasing down Bucky, of course, because he finds, believes Bucky's responsible for T'Chaka, his father's death. And we get a quasi type chase scene where the characters Bucky and Cap and Black Panther are running, they're on foot. Then they steal. Cap steals a car. Bucky jumps on a motorcycle at one point to try to get away. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, T'Challa is of course hunting him down. We get some fighting, between Bucky and Black Panther. And, before essentially Cap, Cap kind of tackles Black Panther off Bucky. Before we end up getting like a multiple person melee and shit, the cops circle in and whatnot on Bucky and Cap and T'Challa, and War Machine drops down and shit, all in armor and everything and whatnot. James Rhodes, and is like, "Great job, Cap. You're a criminal," or some shit like that or whatever, and essentially shuts shit down and whatnot with the whole situation, locks it down. So out of all that, out of everything that I kind of stretched out and covered right there out of the film, go to you, Cyber. What stood out, or what did you really dig or not dig or whatever with that whole, part of the film?
That whole sequence was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. It was very action packed from, the scene where, Cap goes into Bucky's apartment that he's been hanging out in, and they have their confrontation. And then that's when the soldiers show up and they have that climactic action sequence that leads to that awesome chase on the freeway. And that chase on the freeway was so well constructed and done. I really enjoyed it. I love seeing, T'Challa, Black Panther running and kind of doing his stunts and stuff like that, and Cap kind of doing all these kind of crazy things too. Especially when that car starts to roll and he runs right out of the car, is just so super cool. And that whole sequence, and Falcon being a part of it and all that kind of stuff was just all really well constructed. And just really kind of gave you an idea of, these guys are of super origin. They really are these, superheroes they say they are. And just how they filmed that whole scene was really well done too as well. And, coming to that very end sequence where they're surrounded and, War Machine popping up and saying, "Good job, Cap, you're a war criminal now." Was just on point, I thought, and just kind of saying that, "You dumb idiot," kind of basically. That's kind of what Rhodey is saying there. And but that whole sequence, I just really enjoyed. I thought it was really well constructed and really fun.
Okay, Jeff.
Who?
JB.
You.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I go by JB. I didn't know who you were talking to.
My bad. Did you think I was talking to myself?
Yes.
Well, no, y'all changed names on me. I figured I don't know. I thought you might be talking to somebody else. That was a great scene, man. The chase scene from the house going across the rooftops, fighting. Then all of a sudden you see Black Panther pop out of nowhere and get into it with Bucky. That was awesome. The fight scenes up there. You got to see just how strong the vibranium suit is. And how tough the claws are, the whole deal. Then of course the chase scenes in the cars, I thought that was just awesome the way they did that. The stunt people put on a great show there. I mean, that shit was perfect. I've got to say, I have not been a War Machine fan. When this movie came out, it just reassured me even more why I wasn't a War Machine fan. I didn't like War Machine after Iron Man 2.
Yo, War Machine is a beast, bro. He's awesome.
Didn't care for him in this movie. And it reassured me even more why I didn't like him with his remarks that he made to Sam during the Sokovia, and his remarks that he made to Cap, and his remarks that he makes all throughout this movie. But I understand why they did that. Because he redeems himself later on in the universe with me. But at this time, I was not a War Machine fan. In fact, I didn't care for him very much at all.
Yo, I'm telling you right now, man, I'm about to cry in a minute over here talking shit about fucking War Machine, man. My boy.
War Machine stole the uniform from Iron Man for the government. It wasn't given to him.
Yo, come on now. War Machine is fucking Tony's best friend and shit.
It is
whatnot.
what it is. He stole it from Iron Man during a drunk escapade. He stole it.
You
He
said
didn't
a
ask
Trump
for it.
escapade?
It wasn't given to him. He stole it while Stark was drunk.
Hey,
You
say whatever.
remember.
Hey, I'll tell you
And
right
Iron Man
now.
too.
Say what you want about War Machine. I'll tell you right
But
now.
anyway.
Hey, Jeff, hold on. In 2 years, if fucking War Machine pops out and shit and whatnot with Hawkeye, and they're
Well,
fucking
now,
like, hold on, JB.
You're getting
No.
all up on your high horse. You
JB.
didn't finish listening
J-
to what I
no,
had to say.
no, let me finish.
What I got to say.
I'll let you finish, but let me just say something real quick. In 2 years, if War Machine pops up real quick with Hawkeye and shit, and they're leading the West Coast Avengers and shit, you're gonna love it.
Okay, are you done now?
Yeah,
Okay, you're off your high horse.
yeah.
If you listen to what I said he redeems himself in the universe, but you didn't hear that part.
I was just talking shit. I don't care, man. It's all good.
Anyway, I wasn't a War Machine fan at this time, so he didn't really impress me.
Okay. Well, you know what? Again, Jeff, I was just playing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, look.
Dude, I know, but you don't let me finish.
Hey.
If you'd let me finish, then you could go on that and do that. But I mean, you're not letting me get to my point. But that's all good. It's all good. Go ahead, finish the thing.
Well, you know what? I don't have a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's all good.
No, my thing is to try to make you look good. You know what I'm saying? And like put you on the spot and whatnot, and try to make you good. You feel me?
Okay.
So at that point, you feel me? Like if I fail you at all and whatnot and everything, I'm sorry, man. You know what I mean?
No.
My bad.
It's all good, man. You didn't. Everything's fine.
Great. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, dude. It's all good. So, anyways, Ricky.
This was probably another great intense scene in Civil War. Just climax after climax with just the, I guess with Steve Rogers trying to protect his friend out of personal reasons. You see that he's really trying to clear Bucky's name, and he wants to let people know that Bucky's been fucked by Hydra, and he wants to just make sure like everyone is on the same page. But then at the same time, he can't help him. And now that T'Challa was after Bucky, it's just more that's on the line. And I do like that it for Steve Rogers' character, like I like that it's personal to him instead of him always trying to be like the self-righteous superhero or like some sort of Avengers team leader. Like he's making his choices because he wants to, and there's the consequences to that, which I thought was great. That because he's doing that for Bucky, he's being a criminal at the same time.
Okay, that's very valuable. That's a very good comment, J-Rat.
I like talking last because I get to tap into every single one's comments or breakdown of what they thought.
Yeah, J-Rat, kind of like being last, like when you're running the train on a chick. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like it's a good spot to be.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna partially agree with Jeff about War Machine's character. I do like War Machine, his character, but I don't think Marvel did a good job of making his character stand out. War Machine's character, so I can understand why Jeff doesn't like War Machine.
Well, no. I think they did that on purpose. That's my point.
Oh, okay. Because
I think they did it on purpose because, like, later on in Infinity War, of course, we all forget Sokovia when Infinity War starts. But he's a prime. I mean, if it wasn't for some of the things that he did, Endgame wouldn't have wound up the way it did, nor would have Infinity War. So he redeemed himself through there. That's what I was trying to say. It's not that I dislike him. I just see what they were doing.
Okay, got you.
How they were setting it up.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember that one? Nobody touched on this, that one scene where Captain America, when he was chasing Bucky, he grabbed the helicopter, it was pulled the helicopter down.
That's after.
That's later.
That's after.
That's
after.
That's
when he breaks out.
Yeah, it's after.
No, it's
and
after.
Dude, that was a damn GQ stylish moment too when he
Oh yeah.
He flexed the muscle and had one arm on one part. Yeah, that was a whole. That was a poster shot.
I don't know, because like he grabbed it and then like I felt like the helicopter should have been able to lift him though. Like maybe the part where he was holding it, like with his arm, on one part.
They were trying to show us how strong Steve was.
Well, didn't it finally pull the rail? Didn't the rails what gave, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was okay with him holding the one arm and then holding the helicopter pad with the other, but that part where like it's taken off and he like grabs it with both arms, when you're grabbing and you're pulling down, you don't really have anything to support you pulling it down when it's that heavy. You're like you either pull it down or you're gonna pull yourself up. He should have in real life he would have pulled himself up like a pull up instead of pulling the helicopter down. I always had
knocked smack unconscious too, and Steve wasn't. I couldn't figure that out.
Yo, I mean, look, hey,
when it hit the water.
Ricky has actually done a scene like that in real life before, right, Ricky?
I guess.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Anyways, I apologize. And you know what? Honestly, J-Rat, I honestly sometimes do enjoy myself too, being on the panel and being last when it's my turn to get to talk. It's cool to be last,
Yeah, like the end of a train, right?
Yeah. Hey, dude, you know what? If you're gonna pull a train on a chick, you should be last, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the best. You know what I mean? It's the greatest. It's the best spot to be.
I also wanted to throw some last minute thoughts. I really liked the sound effects that they used during this chase scene where Bucky's running away from T'Challa, and then when he jumps down, you can hear like his footsteps. But then when Black Panther jumps down from the building, it's completely silent. I always thought that's something that always stood out to me for some reason. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I didn't think about that.
Shout out to Tex, not dead again, from the comment section. Loved the first sequence with Black Panther. He came into the MCU looking like a boss. You know what? Yes, Tex, you are freaking correct. Most
I wonder
definitely.
if they did that to show to put emphasis on the sneaky ability of the uniform. You know what I mean? With Black Panther, how a panther, how cats are quiet. I wonder if that's why they did that.
I just kind of.
I mean, that's digging way too, way deep. But
no, it's all good. It's all good, JB.
I'm probably giving them too much credit on that one.
You could be right.
Just as like a quick like side note and whatnot, everything and question also for the panel. With Black Panther's introduction into the MCU and whatnot, and in this movie, in Civil War, I'll tell you right now, I love, as Cyber knows, I absolutely love trailer reactions, MCU trailer reactions. I love them. Can't stop watching them. And I've seen the trailer reactions before of Captain America Civil War's trailers, which I'm actually going to play here in a minute, the trailers, and kind of give the guys a pause. But anyways, I've seen some of those reaction videos and whatnot of those trailers, and like, I'm telling you, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the panel, have seen any of them, but seeing the people's faces, like the fans' faces of seeing the Black Panther for the first time in the MCU, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I love it. I love seeing it. I love seeing people's faces and whatnot when they see the Black Panther for the first time. And of course, with Spider-Man, everybody goes crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's Spider-Man. But as far as everybody on the panel goes, does anybody have anything to toss in or to add or whatnot as far as, like, those trailer reactions of, like, those Civil War, Captain America Civil War trailers, or of, like, any, like, trailer reaction video or whatever that you've, liked or anything like that?
I think with the whole, like, Black Panther reactions, I think what made him stand out a lot too was that there was no origin or no lead up to it. He just showed up. He was in the trailer. He was someone that you're expecting to see, and same thing with how he is in the movie. He's just there. They just go Prince T'Challa, and then oh my god, if comic people who don't read the comic books, if they didn't know that he was Black Panther, I think that would have been that. Hearing some of those reactions was really cool too in the theater during opening weekend when they're like, "Oh my god, he's the Black Panther." I thought that was just really cool to hear. Like really green nerds just geek out about that. And then, same thing with Spider-Man too. They just threw him in there. You don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. You know he's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, and like the reactions of people to seeing Spider-Man for the first time in that trailer. Oh my god! Like people were jumping, like in the air and everything. What's up, J-Rap? What are you laughing about?
I just think it's funny how like the movies from when those came out, how much different it is now, like for the reaction, because they're just so much better. Like you think of that movie compared to like this last one with Spider-Man that came out. I mean, it's just totally different. Like you got introduction to MCU characters like the Black Panther, and when Spider-Man came out, and then they brought in Ant-Man. But I don't think it was just as anticipated as like this last Spider-Man movie that came out. I mean, it's just another level.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I guess just because they decided to, when they merged all the different Spider-Mans. I guess that's what it is. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that kind of sucks, like for me, really honestly, when it comes to those reactions, those trailer reactions, is that they didn't really start putting them out like on YouTube and everything and whatnot, and making them until literally, I think I want to say, I mean, like they started doing them when they did the Avengers. The original Avengers film. I think there's one, like literally one reaction like trailer video for the original Avengers movie that you can find on YouTube. And then like for Age of Ultron, the Age of Ultron trailers, literally like I think there's honestly like literally like 2 different YouTubers that have one video each of like trailer reactions for the Age of Ultron trailers. So for those first couple Avengers movies and whatnot, there's not that much really to find, as far as the trailer reactions go. But then when we got to Infinity War and Endgame and everything, like shit, there's like 17 different like trailer reaction videos on YouTube for those.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I'll tell you right.
Spider-Man ratcheting Spider-Man up the way they did. You see how simple he was in this movie, and then when you look at him, how he progressed, as his character has progressed, it all falls in line with that. That motto, with great power comes great
responsibility.
Yeah. It all falls right in line with that motto. The way they're ratcheting up his character. Each movie, the pressure ratcheted up more and more and more. Now it's full blown. There's no telling what's going to happen in the next movie.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
You can tell that when I was watching this one, seeing how basic Spider-Man was and how funny and how lighthearted he is in this movie compared to where he is now, you can really see how they've ratcheted up like that. Yeah, he's got a lot more responsibility now than what he had then.
Yeah, most definitely. And if anything, I think that kind of actually like models his character arc in a way like of like the comics in a way, you know what I mean? But like,
right.
But shout out to Dollface. She's back. She's on the show. She's just in the comment section now. She's swapped out. She's not on the show anymore visually. She's only there through her text. So shout out to Dollface. She says, I love the reactions to the Black Panther's debut. It struck awe in everyone. He was a strong black positive character that stole your attention. Once you realized he was Wakandan, you just knew he was the Black Panther. Hell yeah, Dollface. Thank you very much for being in the comment section and contributing and adding value to the show. As always. But anyways, as we move on here, like with the review and everything and whatnot, and get into another area of the film, an aspect of the film and scenes of the film and whatnot, I believe that, we end up going from the essential arrest, of Cap and Bucky and everything and whatnot, which ends up in a situation where Bucky is essentially imprisoned, in a temporary cell, and I guess I'm thinking Tony at that point, I think basically is what manages to keep Cap from out of being imprisoned at that point. So they take Cap's shield, but Cap is free. He's a free man. So basically we then end up getting a scene where Vision is back in the movie again. He's cooking for Wanda. And, we get kind of a short, cute kind of like, the start of like the Vision, Wanda kind of love story and relationship and whatnot. There's some flirtation in it and whatnot and everything. It's sort of lighthearted. And, and Vision and Wanda have a discussion and whatnot. And, kind of, I guess, in a way, Wanda is depressed, sort of, in a way, at that point and whatnot and everything. And, of course, she feels bad for, like, the bombing from the beginning of the movie and whatnot that she accidentally caused. And the people that died, and Vision tries to, like, reassure her, and kind of, like, make her feel better and whatnot. And, before we move on to the next scene, like, we get back where we get Baron Zemo again. Does anybody on the panel, I'll just go around and ask everybody openly and whatnot. I'm not going to go around to everybody, like, individually. Does anybody really have anything to add or they'd like to say about that Wanda and Vision scene?
I mean, it's kind of an introduction into Vision and Wanda's, relationship that we'll end up seeing in WandaVision, basically. It was kind of like I feel kind of like a fortitude to, what we ended up getting to see in the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And then what we saw in WandaVision. So, yeah, I mean, that was just kind of like, I feel like kind of Marvel little Easter egg showing us that, eventually we're going to be getting more of Wanda and Vision, kind of their relationship and kind of what they were going to become.
Okay. Thank you, Cyber. Does anybody else in the panel have anything for me on that? Going once, going twice? Okay. Let's move on. So, Baron Zemo pops up and he's pretending to be a psychologist, I believe, or a psychiatrist, essentially, and pops up to, like, talk to, Bucky, while he's being imprisoned. And, basically, at that point, uses the Hydra notebook that he, obtained or, like, stole from the Hydra agent earlier in the film, Karpov or whatever. He goes ahead and activates Bucky into the Winter Soldier-like mode. Okay? And at that point, as Winter Soldier at that point, Bucky literally, like, breaks out. He gets out of his imprisonment. And we end up getting another super, super awesome action scene, fight scene, hand-to-hand combat type scene where, again, Bucky's running away. He's trying to escape. He wants freedom. He didn't cause the bombing. He knows that he's innocent. That he's been framed. But of course, nobody else knows that. Steve believes it. He doesn't think Bucky did it either. But at that point, we get that fight scene where we end up getting, a lot of different characters mixing it up with Bucky. The Black Panther, starts and throws down with Bucky a little bit and whatnot, and they throw some blows. As Winter Soldier again activated and all crazy and shit and whatnot, Bucky actually, like, gets physical with Black Widow, with that. Sharon Carter tries to take on Winter Soldier and whatnot and throw down with him. And of course, Bucky, like, Black Widow is a badass fighter, but she's no match for Bucky with the Super Soldier Serum at the end of the day. Or Sharon Carter. Although it was actually pretty cool to see Sharon Carter fight and everything and whatnot in that scene. I liked it. I love Sharon Carter as a character. She's great. But then we also get, like, the really cool part of the scene where, Tony in street clothes tries to, like, take on Bucky or whatnot and everything and whatnot. As he's all crazed out and everything and trying to, like, fight and kill everybody and shit. And try to get away. Tony, like, uses one of the Iron Man, like, gloves, like, activates it and everything and whatnot. He almost gets... Doesn't he almost get shot with a handgun or something like that at one point in that scene, guys?
Yeah, he
rips it apart.
Yeah, he blocked the bullet with his hand.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yeah. And so, essentially, you know, eventually, as like that scene kind of like tapers out and whatnot, Sam and Cap end up helping and hiding Bucky and like going away with Bucky in a way, you know, like almost like as a precursor in a way of like, you know, of like the Secret Avengers type deal and everything with Avengers Infinity War, you know, and so at that point, after that scene like sort of tails out and whatnot, you know, Sam at that point has actually like, you know, straight up like decided to go with Cap and like, you know, and try to help Bucky or whatever, or like, you know, hide Bucky or whatever, you know, and you know, prove Bucky's innocence and everything and whatnot. And it's actually a sort of, you know, kind of important kind of moment, I guess, where, you know, you see Sam Wilson's dedication and loyalty to Steve Rogers, you know, and to their friendship and whatnot, and what Cap means to him, you know, because like Bucky's nobody to him at that point, you know, and so basically, you know, starting with you, Ricky, you know, what would you say, or what do you have to add, or what do you want to take from that whole action scene and whatnot, and Baron Zemo activating Winter Soldier, and you know, all that.
I just liked how everything just fell apart. I guess not in a bad way, but like when they captured Bucky, and you think that they're doing something right, or they're like keeping him in the cell, where Zemo just ruins the entire plan. I really liked how devious he was about that. You know, just saying like he was the psychologist, and then he reads off the notes that's in that book. And then just there's like a sequence in the fight where Bucky and Cap are fighting, and it's just like a one shot where the camera follows them in the hallway, and I thought that was a really cool shot there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I also liked when Iron Man did pull out his watch, or like what he said something like, you know, smart too, where Black Widow's like, you know, where's your suit? He goes, oh, I have one. It's this 3-piece one right here. Like it's his actual suit, not like a Iron Man suit. So he has to fight with whatever tech he had on him. And then yeah, I just really like just how Bucky ran through everyone. And then even T'Challa couldn't even stop him. But what was cool though was I always like seeing superheroes fight in their civilian clothing.
Yeah.
So to see T'Challa fight in like regular clothes instead of the Black Panther suit was really cool too.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate it. Again, I appreciate you having my back and whatnot, because I didn't really point that out or make a big deal out of that, but that was really cool and everything and whatnot, and that was how it went down. You know, and I also agree with you, Ricky, and I feel the same way about Tony in that scene. You know, it's cool seeing him at like in street clothes and whatnot in that fight. You know, not as Iron Man. But JB, what do you got on this?
He held his own, didn't he?
Yeah.
Outside of, he got thrown around quite a bit, but he held his own. I mean, with the glove, you know, he was able to put. I don't know what kind of weaponry that was that he shot. I don't know what that. It almost looked like it was like I don't know, like it stunned him. It didn't really knock him backwards. It kind of like
like that flashbang.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but
that concussion grenade.
Soundwave or something.
He did that part, and then when they, you know, I mean, the Widow jumping up on his chest and literally just double elbowing the hell out of the top of Bucky's head, and it not even slowing him down was crazy. I mean, she was working him good, and then had it not been for the Black Panther, you know, he would have choked her out on top of that table. But yeah, that whole scene was awesome, man. The way they did the fight scenes and that. I've said it before. The stunt people are just crazy good. Because I mean, you couldn't tell those were stunt people at all. I mean, it was that, you know, the filming, everything was just right on time. It was really a good scene. And then of course from there, what they go to that warehouse, I guess, and they've got Bucky in the warehouse. They've got his arm pinned down with that vice. Is that right?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that scene That was an an extra credit scene out of another movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was at the end of Ant-Man.
Was that the end of Ant-Man when that one came out?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I remember seeing that scene, and when I saw that, I was like, okay, so that's tying back into this. So that's when he was saying that he had somebody in mind, and I knew that was going to be Ant-Man coming up. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed the way they set everything up was really cool.
Great. Cyber.
I mean, overall, it was another great sequence. Going back to J. Rent talking about Captain holding on to the helicopter. That is probably my all-time favorite scene of the entire film and a lot of the MCU films. I absolutely love the scene. The music was perfect right there when he is holding on to both the edge and to the helicopter and she's flexing his muscles. Absolutely love that scene. And just that whole sequence, where he basically pulls it back, basically, and then, Bucky punches out the window and takes him by the neck, and then they both fall after the helicopter's basically has been destroyed kind of into the water is just a really great sequence, too, as well. But overall, that whole sequence, I mean, everyone throws down in that scene from Black Widow to Sharon Carter, T'Challa, Tony using what he has and all that stuff, and they all just work really well together in that scene, and the choreography was really well done. And I mean, it leads to that next great scene, to them basically getting ready to assemble to fight each other. So it's a great sequence.
Most definitely. Thank you, Cyber. J-Rat?
Yeah, it was a pretty good fight scene. You reminded me of the double elbow attack by the Black Widow when she jumped on top of him and she was giving. I don't know what that move was, but and she was giving him the double elbows like that and on top of his head. That was kind of funny. And then Tony Stark when he had the go-go gadget watch that it only came out just for his hand. I thought that was kind of odd because like it was just his hand, like it wasn't not the whole suit, and I couldn't remember, on that sides of the movie because I know he had the nanotechnology later on, where like he would push the button and all of a sudden his whole all his armor would come on. But I guess in that specific scene, he didn't go into full Iron Man mode. It was just the hand, and that's where he blocks the bullet, or he just shoots basically shoots his hand. That's how he catches it, and he was able to break off or pull off the top of the gun, and then he gets smacked around because the Winter Soldier has a robot arm and is a superhuman. Yeah, I know who else was it was what's her name? The
Sharon.
Sharon, yeah,
Yeah.
they were tag teaming him, and then he was just tossing them around too. And then the helicopter scene, it was a great scene. I wasn't a big fan of the part where he tried to pull it down. I liked where he held on to it. Then they fell down. That's where they go into the water. Bucky knocks his head on the windshield, and then that's where he saves them. And that's the point where they're like, Captain, you just became a criminal. Is that the part right after that? Was it before that?
We talked about that already.
Before that,
We did,
yeah.
right? Okay. I it's been a while since I've seen the movie, and I tried to watch it again. Some of it, and I just missed some of it, but
That's okay.
yeah, it was a good scene. I liked the fight scene.
Okay. All right. Awesome. I think I basically got everybody in there on that. And basically, I want to say that just that, again, it was really cool. That was the first time that we saw Sharon Carter actually like in action.
Yeah, throwing down.
Yeah. And she did okay with Bucky. I mean, again, he's got the super soldier serum, so Sharon Carter's no joke. But I mean, with the super soldier serum, you're not going to be able to throw down with Bucky. So, so we move on from there in the film, and you know what? Honestly, guys, actually, before I get into and break down the next scene or scenes, plurally, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and play the trailers for Captain America: Civil War and whatnot, because they're cool as hell to watch, and it'll give everybody a chance to take a pause and a break, and recharge their batteries.
This job, we try to save as many people as we can. Sometimes that doesn't mean everybody. But you don't give up.
New York. Washington, D.C. Sokovia.
Okay, that's enough.
Captain, people are afraid.
That's why I'm here. We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game.
I'm sorry, Tony. If I see a situation pointed south, I can't ignore it. Sometimes I wish I could.
Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
I know we're not perfect. But the safest hands are still our own.
I was wrong about you. The whole world was wrong about you. They're coming for you.
I'm not the one that needs to watch their back.
This doesn't have to end in a fight, Tony.
You just started a war. Stay down. Final warning.
I could do this all day.
All right, I've run out of patience. On to roost!
Hey, everyone.
Okay, trailer 2. I apologize, folks. Sorry about that little pause.
Buck. Do you remember me?
Your mom's name was Sarah. You used to wear newspapers in your shoes.
You're a wanted man.
I don't do that anymore.
Well, the people who think you did are coming right now. And they're not planning on taking you alive.
Captain, while a great many people see you as a hero, there are some who'd prefer the word vigilante. You've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's something the world can no longer tolerate.
I know how much Bucky means to you. Stay out of this one. Please. You'll only make this worse.
You saying you'll arrest me?
There will be consequences.
Captain, you seem a little defensive. Well, it's been a long day. If we can't accept limitations, we're no better than bad guys.
That's not the way I see it.
Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
I just want to make sure we consider all our options. Because people that shoot at you usually wind up shooting at me too.
You know what's about to happen. Do you really want to punch your way out of this?
What do we do?
We fight. Sorry, Tony. You know I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice. But he's my friend. So was I.
There you go, folks. Those, of course, are the trailers for Captain America Civil War. Very well done. You know, as, of course, like the majority of all, I guess, you know, MCU trailers are when it boils down to it. You know, I don't really know of that many that are ever terrible. You know, but, so basically, you know, we're going to go ahead and, again, move forward in the movie and whatnot. And go ahead and throw down one more volley to the panel of questions after, like, I go ahead and break down this next scene. And then, you know, we're going to, unfortunately, but understandably, lose our guests, Jay Rent and Ricky, because they have stuff to do. They got to get up in the morning for work and shit like that and whatnot. You know, they got important, like, real life, you know, events and crap going down, you know, and, you know. So we're going to send them off at that point. But, you know, we'll do one more volley first of questions and everything and shit. And, hey, you know what? At the MCU's Bleeding Edge, we appreciate and value the hell out of the guests that come on here and whatnot and shit. And, hey, you know, if they got to cut loose and whatnot on the show and not finish it and everything, it is what it is. We're happy with whatever we get from them. You know, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, just so everybody knows, I love moderating. Cyber loves moderating. It's really great and, like, blessing to be the host of the MCU's Bleeding Edge. But without these guests on the panel and whatnot, you know, and the ones that we have on every show and whatnot, we would not have a show. So, what's wrong, Cyber? Am I being too long-winded? Okay, sir. Thank you. He likes to keep me in check, folks. So, anyways, so back to the actual movie and whatnot, and the review and whatnot, and where we are with it. And I am going to try to pick up the pace a little bit as we kind of move forward here with the last couple scenes of the film. We end up getting, after that, like, action/fight scene and whatnot, some flashbacks of the death scene, you know, of... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, I apologize. We get flashbacks of the super soldier serum death squad from Hydra that are created off of the stolen super soldier serum that was made by SHIELD. You know, and that Bucky, Winter Soldier, steals from Anthony Stark's car or trunk in the opening scene of the film. And in the flashback with the you know, the Hydra super soldier serum folks, they are, like, extremely, like, uncontrollable and insane and shit and violent and crap, and, like, they're so hardcore and shit and strong that, like, they're stronger and, like, tougher and, like, better fighters than Bucky. You know, like, he's kind of, like, you know, not trying to throw down with them at all. You know, and then we move on from that. It's a pretty short scene. You know, it's not that really that impactful at the end of the day. But, you know, we then end up getting, you know, the super cool scene where we get the introduction of Tom Holland for the first time in the MCU. You know, not as Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker. And we get Aunt May, Marissa Tomei, for the first time, when Tony pops up and visits Aunt May and Peter Parker out of the blue on his own. And, like, flirts with Aunt May, I guess. No, or, like, says something. Does he flirt with Aunt May, Cyber? Or does he just, like, say that Aunt May's hot or something like that?
He kind of flirts with her, and then he makes that remark to... He makes the beauty remark to Peter when they're in his bedroom.
Okay. Thank you. So, you know, of course, now we see the first appearance of Tom Holland in the MCU. You know, very big, you know, powerful, impactful moment. You know, and from there... we end up getting Sharon Carter helping the now fugitive Cap and Sam by going and, like, grabbing and, like, and taking his shield and Falcon's wings and uniform and outfit and shit, you know, and helping them out and, like, giving them their gear, you know. And, you know, essentially we end up getting Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man. You know, at that point in the movie, he pops up. You know, Team Cap, I guess, if you want to call it, ends up bringing him in. You know, as, like, you know, a free agent. Like, you know, as some help. You know, and then we end up getting, of course, you know, the actual literal, like, Civil War definition, like, scene. You know, action scene, fight scene. where we get the two sides, you know, the Iron Man side versus the Cap side. We get that famous, you know, side-by-side showdown where they both, like, you know, run at each other or whatever from the trailers, or trailer, excuse me. You know, and we get, like, you know, the Avengers fractured, essentially, you know, and split. Hawkeye pops up. He's back. You know, we get a Hawkeye appearance. He's on Team Cap. And we get the first appearance of Spider-Man in the MCU. When Tony, as Iron Man, pops out for him and says, "Under ruse," and Spider-Man pops up and webs Cap's shield and takes it. You know, so of course we get, you know, the fight scenes after that come after, you know, individually with certain characters and whatnot. T'Challa, Black Panther, ends up mixing it up with Clint. You know, we get our first, like, real, like, signs of, like, the chemistry between Sam and Bucky, when, like, you know, they're trying to, like, you know, get away, and get to the Quinjet at that point, I believe, and Peter Parker Spider-Man pops up and, like, fucking webs them up and everything and locks them down, and, like, you know, looks really cool. You know, so we see that chemistry kind of start, really, for the first time there with Sam and Bucky, and the humor. Ant-Man goes Giant Man for the first time. You know, and Vision, of course, phases through him, which is cool and funny. And War Machine, unfortunately, at the end, towards the end of it, gets dropped while flying by a blast from Vision. You know, errant blast, and ends up dropping down to the ground and is, like, critically mortally injured and, like, ends up being paralyzed afterwards and whatnot. And essentially, you know, to kind of, like, I guess, you know, kind of close the scene out and whatnot, you know, of course, at the end of the day, Team Cap sort of, I guess, kind of wins, because at the end of the day, Black Widow helps Steve out, and they get to the Quinjet, and Sam and Steve and Bucky bounce. So, before we get into the raft, and, you know, seeing the different Avengers in prison and whatnot, and Ant-Man and everybody, you know, Cyber, your thoughts on the massive, classic, historic scene there, you know, battle scene and whatnot, fight scene?
Like we mentioned before in this film, it's just action-packed. And this is just another action-packed scene that they added to this film, where the actual Avengers fight each other. And we get to see a lot of the different characters' abilities. We get the introduction of Spider-Man finally into the franchise. We get Ant-Man officially be a part of, like, the Avengers at the same time. And we get this just climatic battle between all of them. And we get to see them all rumbling. And it's a really fun scene. We get all of them get to see them do different things. We get to see some really good banter. We get to see some funny, like, scenes, like, especially when Ant-Man is really big and Vision flies through him, and Ant-Man's like, "Somebody just went through me or into me." And, you know, it's just all around just a really great scene that, you know, comes to an interesting climax when, you know, Black Widow ends up stunning Black Panther to let Cap and Bucky get away. So I think it's all around a really fun scene.
I do too. J-Rat.
Yeah, it is a fun scene. They had a lot going on, and, you know, they did the what if, you know, Iron Man fought Captain America scene that I was relate to earlier, you know, and they had Captain America and Iron Man have a really good, long, extensive fight scene where they duked it out. You know, you got to see his suit hold up to Captain America, and Captain America kind of, you know, standing his ground against the Iron Man suit, pretty much is what it was. And that scene was funny too, with Ant-Man, where Vision went through him. And the introduction of Spider-Man, where he takes the shield, caught Captain America off guard, was able to sling it off him. You know, didn't somebody punch him? It was punch Spider-Man later on, like he punching that little kid.
I don't think
that was Cap. Cap punched the shit out of Spider.
Yeah.
punched the shit out of that little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a cool scene.
Okay, awesome, J-Rat. JB?
Oh yeah, man, there was so much stuff in that scene. It's unreal. But probably the some of the coolest parts that stand out is just the fact that we see all the powers that all of them have, you know, and we get to see all these fights between heroes that you wonder, you know, which one's stronger than the other one. They were all pretty evenly matched, you know. You had Spider-Man really some ways showing Cap up, and then Cap rebounding, showing Spider-Man up, and then you had, you know, Ant-Man going giant, and he started showing, and everybody, you know, it's just cool the way they made everything work together. But then, you know, the other thing is like at the end of it, when Black Panther's chasing him, and the Widow is there, and she makes the decision to stop, you know, Panther so that Cap and Bucky can take off. After that scene, this is when the Black Widow movie starts and Ross is chasing her. Is that after this?
Yeah, Black Widow's right after.
Picks up at. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I couldn't remember for sure. So after that, that's when she goes into running, right? So in the timeline, that would be her movie would pick up after this.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking. But yeah, no, it's awesome, man. This whole fight scene's crazy. There's so much stuff in there; it's just ridiculous. But yeah, all of the floppy fandom comic book readers were going nuts, you know, at this. So yeah, it was crazy.
It was most definitely, definitely one of like those really, again, like super like crazy moments.
It was an iconic moment.
Yep. Epic.
Yep.
Epic. Yep.
Epic.
Yep.
That's the word.
Yeah, and like a major part of the trailers were people that really stood out for people and whatnot that people really reacted to. Ricky.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest with what's happening in this part of the movie. You know, it's pretty much I would say the climax of the movie, because you get to see all the heroes go at it, and then with the additions of Ant-Man and Spider-Man, it really made this fight scene more intense, because there's other people that's outside that they actually had to recruit to just even be a part of this. I really liked seeing Paul Rudd's Ant-Man in this scene. You know, right after his first movie that came out before this, and just to see him in action with the other heroes, and then of course Tom Holland's Spider-Man's debut was really cool. I enjoyed seeing him fight Bucky and Sam. One of the parts that stood out was when Bucky tries to punch Spider-Man, he catches his arms, like, oh man, you have a metal arm, that's so cool. Like, I really liked, as childish as he is, he's so much stronger than the majority of these characters. And then there's also Hawkeye meeting Black Panther, and I thought that was a very witty moment. You know, he's like, I'm Clint. He's like, I don't care. You know, Black Panther always has like these really short one-liners. Yeah, just overall, this fight scene was good. It's just, I really wish that they used this opportunity to have Cap's team go and fight like the other Winter Soldiers before you find out what happens. But to see that they all took a big loss just so that Cap and Bucky can leave, that was a big moment too.
Okay. Excellent. Did I get you in already?
Yes.
I did. Okay, awesome. So guess what, folks? You know what? We're actually going to lose J-Rent as a guest, and we're going to lose Ricky as a guest at this point in the review, because, of course, over here at the Bleeding Edge, TrueKnowledge can be a little fucking long-winded here and there and whatnot. And, you know.
We have rode quite a bit. What are we at? 2 hours? 2.5 hours?
Oh, yeah. I definitely am, like, super, like, good at, like, maintaining a pace and whatnot that's, you know, quick and everything during these reviews. I'm very good at it. But no, guys, I want to just, you know, apologize to you first. I'm sorry that, you know, I kind of dragged this one out a little bit and whatnot and made it so long. You know, we would have rather had you ride the whole thing out. You know, but hey, you know what? Look, you know, Cyber will be here next Wednesday for Doctor Strange, and he'll tighten that bitch up and whatnot, you know, and and bang it out, and we'll make it, we'll make it under less than 2 hours and shit. So, if you wanted the shorter version, come tomorrow. Come next Wednesday. And Cyber will deliver it for you. If you want the long-winded, fucked up, crazy version, then you know what? Come visit me, because I got your back. But anyways, Ricky, thank you very much for coming on and being a guest, man. J-Rat, thank you for being a guest again. It was fucking dope as hell to have you. And before you all leave and we say goodbye and peace out to you, please, Ricky first and then J-Rat, go ahead and plug away on your content.
Yeah, first I just want to say thank you for this opportunity for being able to collab with you guys. If you guys are interested in my podcast, again, it's Spoiler Force. I do reviews on movies, anime, cartoons, comic books, whatnot. I talk to a variety of guests from voice actors, to cosplayers, to content creators, gamers, whoever. And it's really just chill at Spoiler Force. So if you guys just like to have hear like authentic conversations, just drop on by. You can follow me on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. And my links are all like in the link tree, whatever. So if you find my page, just click on that and you'll see everything.
Excellent. J-Rat.
Again, thanks for having me on the show, Jeff. Cyber, and then Jeff Bowen, Jeff B. Good to be on with you guys again.
Yeah, man. We'll see you again.
Absolutely. And everybody that's watching or will watch later, I'm J-Rent. My podcast is a podcast odyssey. You can find it on Facebook. It's a live stream. Whenever you come on, you can interact with us on the comment section, ask us questions, and we'll answer you. Just find me on Facebook, JRent2000.
Most definitely. And you know what? Besides thanking you guys and letting you know again how much we appreciate having you on as guests and doing the review with us and joining us and whatnot, and being so valuable on the show and such a solid, addition to the team and whatnot for us tonight. I want to thank you very much. I guess, before it happens and whatnot, Ricky, eventually I'll be a guest on his show. And you know what? I really, truly, honestly feel honored every time like another creator like is even willing to want to have me on, and like be a guest. So like, hey, you know what? I seriously look forward to being on your show, Ricky. I want to pay you back. You know what I mean? And and make the collaboration with you equal. So hopefully I'll get you on your show. And J-Rat, dude, you've been fucking like straight up clutch for me lately, brah. And dude, I'm telling you right now, man, I don't give a fuck. If I have to go to the Batman tomorrow, like half drunk, like I will go. You know what I'm saying? So I can make sure I'm prepared and ready to rock and roll on your show.
Go see it. Go see it.
Yes. We are gonna bang out some dope ass fucking Batman review tomorrow night on J-Ran's show, yo. It's gonna be sick. All right, guys. Well, you know what?
All right, guys.
Peace out, and hey, have a wonderful rest of your evening. We'll see you later.
All right,
See you
thank
later.
you.
See you guys.
And there are 3.
And now
Anyways,
there's 3.
that's right. And hey, you know what? I want to thank Jeff B. And I want to thank Cyber, my co-host. Again, for, being here with me and allowing me to, like, moderate the show and working with me as I long-windedly, tangentially make this fucking long-ass show longer. So, anyways, as far as the review goes, as we're kind of like trying to speed this up a little bit and get through these like last couple scenes,
Yeah, we don't
and
have
whatnot.
much left.
No, we don't. We're only going to get into the meat of the end anyway. So basically, we get the raft at that point, and like that's where we're at after like the big like Civil War battle. We see the raft, like the superhero prison for the first time. That's like out in the ocean. And of course, members of Team Cap and whatnot are there, imprisoned. Tony goes there, and Clint's pissed, and whatnot. Several of them are pissed, and, from there, we end up seeing Cap and Bucky going out with the Quinjet and finding the Hydra base, the secret Hydra base, where the Death Squad supposedly are. The Super Soldier Serum, like, folks are. And
The Death Squad?
Yep. And then Tony shows up, of course. and at the Hydra base, you know, with Cap and Bucky, and Baron Zemo pops out of nowhere, you know, and explains his whole deal, his whole, like, you know, like, premise, you know, as far as, like, the loss of his family in Sokovia, you know, with Age of Ultron and shit, and everything, and, you know, then we end up getting the sad and, like, you know, depressing and whatnot, an emotional moment where, you know, in a tactic to try to, again, like, break up at, like, the Avengers and ruin the Avengers and get rid of the Avengers, Zemo plays for Tony a video of Bucky as the Winter Soldier, programmed by Hydra and, you know, enforced by them, basically, you know, and goes and assassinates Tony's parents. And then, you know, before he steals the super soldier serum. You know, so then we get the three-way fight or battle where Tony's pissed and, like, you know, ready to kill, like, essentially Bucky, you know, for killing his parents. Doesn't care whether, you know, Bucky was Winter Soldier or Bucky or whatever with that shit. You know, and we get the fight, the three-way fight. You know, and of course, you know, Cap is trying to, like, help Bucky, you know, again, like try to get freedom and leave and take off again and whatnot. You know, and essentially Tony as Iron Man eventually ends up literally dropping or bringing Bucky down from, like, a height to the ground, and, like, I believe like ends up ripping off his metal arm, if I'm correct. Is that right, guys? That's when that happens, right?
Yeah, the end part of that fight sequence is where basically Tony uses his chest plate and blows off Bucky's arm.
Okay, yeah. I appreciate that, Cyber. Thank you. You know, I mean, I watched the whole movie today and whatnot, but honestly, even when I watch the movies and whatnot, I still forget stuff here and there. So, you know, yeah, so from there, of course, we do get what is, again, an epic scene in the movie. We get the one-on-one with Cap and Iron Man, where they go hand-to-hand, you know, and Tony's so fucking pissed off, essentially, and, like, mad, you know, at Cap, like, feeling betrayed by Cap for not telling him that he knew that Bucky had killed his parents, or, like, you know, kind of, like, figured it out, I guess, on his own, and knew. You know, he's so pissed off or whatever that, like, you know, essentially he abandons his, like, laser weapons and shit like that and just starts going hand to hand with Cap, you know, in the suit. And I just want to point out, you know, here quick my opinion as a moderator, something I noticed that I think is cool. I'll always love just seeing Cap fucking punching and fighting him, Iron Man, Tony Stark in the suit was cool as hell, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I mean, straight punching the metal and everything and whatnot. And, like, being okay with it and shit. That was dope. But you know, so Tony is Iron Man and Cap square up, one-on-one. They throw down. Cap essentially wins. He takes his shield and cracks Iron Man's, suit reactor in the middle of his suit. You know, and that sort of, I guess, like, deactivates or de-energizes Iron Man's suit. And Tony yells at him and says, "My father made that shield," and Cap, like, tosses the shield. You know, gets rid of the shield. You know, leaves it for Tony. And, you know, before we get into, like, the end credits and post-credit scenes and all that and whatnot, and, you know, and T'Challa and Zemo, going to you, Jeff, you know, what are your thoughts on that whole scene? You know, all of it. I mean, the you know, the prison, the raft.
The fight scene where Iron Man and Cap are fighting when Iron Man's throwing the punch and Cap's got the shield up and it both hits and it produces that huge concussion. That's epic because that was in the comics. You know, that was a major shot in the comics, and that was probably one of the biggest scenes that was talked about all over the place when that came out, because that was straight up out of the comics. That whole scene right there was. But they said that they made sure to do that part. So, but yeah, no, I mean, just the sheer, I guess the strength between all three of them was just crazy. I mean, you know, you had Bucky literally damn near ripping that chest plate out. That the laser out of his chest. And that's when it went and blew his arm off. Otherwise, he would have tore that completely out of his suit. So yeah, it was crazy, man. And then, when Iron Man's suit adjusts to Cap's fighting style, in the comics, that's done way before they actually fight. And in the comics, Iron Man, throws down and pretty much is victorious in that fight. But that's where that comes from. It's he had Friday already have that sequenced out. So that was cool. But it was just neat all the way around. I mean, it was sad, but it was neat because, you think about the position that Cap was in, by either finding out and not telling him or knowing and not telling him. And then, of course, we find out later on in the movie when he writes the letter to Tony about that. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, it was cool. It was just epic. I mean, absolutely. That was the best part of the movie. I mean, to me, that was what made the movie.
Okay, Cyber?
The rap scene is really cool. I like that we get to see that. That was a really cool set, and getting to see that, like, just what the rap looked like, because I've heard about it in comics before and stuff like that. And they kind of showed it, but not like really fully developed it. And it was interesting, that whole conversation between Jeremy Renner and Tony in the rap too as well. You can see how angry he is about it, and being away from his family and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, hey, Clint, you chose your side. This is what happens. But then going on to that epic scene at the that fortress where the super soldiers were created, and Iron Man finding out that Bucky was who killed his parents and all that kind of stuff, and their epic fight sequence was really amazing, really well done. I like every aspect about it was really cool. I like it, that Tony's, unfortunately, his sensor gets messed up during the battle, and then that final battle sequence where they're fighting all each other in that one little room was really epic. And just like JB said, the pure strength of all these characters was really shown in this scene between Cap basically breaking the arc reactor, to Bucky almost pulling it out with his metal arm, to just like Iron Man's, even his suit and his, like, how angry he is and how powerful he became, just was so well done. Overall, just really great sequences, and just made the film even more enjoyable.
Yes, most definitely. And it was like, that scene is epic. I mean, that's all I'm literally going to say about the whole thing. It's literally epic. It is. It's monumental. And again, as far as like the trailer reactions and whatnot for and everything, seeing people's reactions to like to being shown Cap fighting like Tony 1-on-1, Iron Man 1-on-1 and everything is another like big winner, and a big it was a big shock to people. So moving on with the review. Basically we get a final scene with Zemo, where Zemo tries to kill himself and shit, and T'Challa's there, and T'Challa stops Baron Zemo from killing himself, and T'Challa no longer wants to like essentially kill Zemo or whatever for killing his father, because he now knows that Zemo was responsible for the bombing, that killed T'Chaka. He changes his mind, and helps make sure that Zemo gets arrested, so from there, we end up getting, of course, seeing Rhodes, James Rhodes' War Machine, being able to walk due to Tony's help. Learning how to walk. And we end up getting essentially, the scene where Cap frees everybody at the raft. He goes to the raft and frees all of Team Cap and shit. And they of course become on the run, and like we get the Secret Avengers type shit after that later on. That goes into Infinity War. You know, where Black Widow and Wanda, Black Widow, Sam, and Cap are like a team. You know, and they do kind of side missions and shit and whatnot. You know, in like a part of the MCU at time that they don't show in the movies, basically. Unfortunately, I would love to have seen it myself, but we then end up getting a final scene in the movie where Steve Rogers sends a letter to Tony, and you hear an audio version of Steve reading it to Tony in Tony's hands, and of course gives him the famous cell phone, you know, and says, you know, if anything fucking happens or whatever, we got your back. Just call me. I got your back. Then we get, of course, like the post-credit scene and the end credit scene of the film, where we get essentially Wakanda for the first time. We see Wakanda, you know, as a indication that we're gonna get Black Panther. And then towards the end of the movie, like the actual like post-credit scene, we see Peter Parker. And if I remember correctly, Tony gives him a watch, I think. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Tony gives him tech. He gives him a watch.
Yep.
You know, and whatnot. That, like, you know, can do all kinds of cool shit, essentially. You know, so, you know, basically at that point, I mean, that's pretty much the movie. And before we do a final segment, we're going to go ahead and get into the Obi-Wan trailer that dropped today during the Disney Plus Day deal. Last thoughts, guys, on like, you know, any of like what we got into right there with the end.
Great ending.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
It's just when he pulls up in the car in front of the Avengers compound and he gets out of his car and you know, there's the Avengers emblem staring at him in the face, you know, and he goes in the building and the only one there is Vision. And then, you know, there's Rhodey having to figure out how to walk with his prosthetic legs, you know, now because of what happened. That was just, I mean, you know, it just shows how fragile they were. It just shows how devious Zemo was for being able to scheme all that together, you know. What I wish they had done is at some point had Zemo in his mask. I really wish they had done that. But then the other scene is when the FedEx driver's bringing the package, and he says, I've got a package for Tony Stank." You know,
yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
When Stan Lee brings that out.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm glad you mentioned it. I always
awesome.
Honestly, Jeff, I always forget to mention or say anything about the Stan Lee cameos in these movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and like, hey,
awesome.
They're great. They're great. It was a good one. You're right.
You know, and that was Cap's letter. You know, and it finished out with that. And of course, we go to where they show us where Wanda is and the rest of them at the raft. You know, and of course we know now with the Widow where she went to get them out. So that was cool.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, the raft will be an awesome prison.
Yeah, I like the raft too.
Basically, all in all, you know, it great ending. You know, it was great to see that Rhodey had help to help him, be able to walk again. You know, we got to see a little Vision for a second, and we got that kind of just great ending with all those great, little bits and pieces about Wakanda and about Spider-Man, Homecoming coming. And, I mean, I think that, yeah, the Stanley cameo, I was going to mention that too myself because that's absolutely hilarious. He's like, "Is there a Tony Stank here?" Which was absolutely hilarious. And Rhodey's like, "Yeah, he's right here. Tony Stank's right here." And it's just such a great way to end, you know, even though that kind of supposed to be kind of like a heartbreaking moment because, you know, Rhodey having to learn to walk again and all that stuff. And it's just a really great way to end the film. That was already just a really fantastic and fun, epic film.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cyber. Appreciate that. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and flip this shit around and flip the script and whatnot. And I'm going to go ahead and hand off to my wonderful co-host, Cyber. and let him go ahead and take us out on a final segment on the Disney Day event today, and the little bit of semi-impactful news we got out of it about Marvel and the MCU, and of course the Obi-Wan trailer, the Star Wars Obi-Wan trailer that I'm going to go ahead and play right now.
Okay.
The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden.
The key to hunting Jedi is patience. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it. Where is he?
Oh yeah, people! Oh yeah! Oh my god! I
Gonna
can't
show
wait to
some of
see
the
that.
Order 66 stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to
Yeah,
see
that's
this.
serious.
I love that it's coming out on May 25th, the anniversary of the first Star Wars back in 1977.
Is that
But
why? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I
that's
didn't
when
know
the
that. I
original-
was wondering why they didn't do it like on May the 4th. But
Yeah.
now, okay, all right, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just made May the 4th the Star Wars Day. But yeah, actually the 25th is the actual original release date of the first Star Wars, 1977.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, this trailer looked awesome. I this is like the fourth time I've watched it today. It looks amazing. I can't wait to see Ewan McGregor once again play Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's also gonna be fun to see exactly what Ben was up to that entire time leading up to New Hope.
I hope they show a lot of back stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm hoping too.
I hope
but
we get to see some Boba Fett. I hope we get to see some of the Cad Bane stuff. You know, that'd be cool to see some. I mean, I don't think they will, but it'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I don't think
You
we'll
know.
be seeing any of that simply for
No.
the fact this is more supposed to be about the centralized Star Wars universe versus like Boba Fett and Mandalorian. Because I think at this point, this was before Boba Fett ended up in the Sarlacc, because this was way before Return of the Jedi. So this is stuff that's happening, probably when Boba's
Yeah,
still growing up.
this is okay. This is going to be from like episode 1, 2, and 3.
Correct. This is supposed to be right
okay.
after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
This is
all
supposed
right,
to take
that'd
place
be
right
cool.
after that. So, and if you can see in the teaser trailer, you see young Luke Skywalker, and he's like 10 years old, it looks like. So this is probably going to be taking place about 10 years after Order 66. So we're looking like about another 10 to 15 years before it's, before even New Hope's happening. So in probably another 20 years till Star Wars Return of the Jedi happened. So this is quite a few years prior. So yeah, this looks really cool. I mean, lots of great scenes in that little teaser trailer. We get to see.
Thank
more
God we got Moon Knight coming out here in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
We haven't had anything new other than the Batman movie. We haven't had anything new happening. Did you watch the thing today?
I did not watch it. I just heard about it. It was very brief. They didn't do much.
Yeah, I listened to it.
All they did was say that they had kind of an idea of when Miss Marvel and She-Hulk was going to air because I guess we're getting Miss Marvel right after Moon Knight, and then we'll be getting She-Hulk in November.
The way they were talking, it's like 6 episodes. Each one's going to be 6 episodes. So me and Jeff did kind of a thing at it. I looked at my calendar when we were talking about it earlier, and depending on if they give us a 2-week break, then it'll be like right at the end of every month, all the way up till July. My cat's got to jump in here and say hi again.
It's like, give me a touching. But yeah, I mean,
just let her in. I forgot she was outside.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, it wasn't a huge day. I mean, like we said, it was just kind of that brief mention of where, Miss Marvel and She-Hulk are going to go, Moon Knight a little bit, and then basically this teaser trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi got dropped, and that's pretty much all that Disney Day was about. It was a lot more, I feel, about business is what really they were talking about. So it wasn't really anything great for the Marvel community, really, but a little bit of a teaser, I should say.
It was cool.
This teaser trailer is such an amazing trailer. I love that they had the original Star Wars music in this.
Yeah,
I love that they gave us this kind of rich first introduction to this series too, as well. I love how the Lucasfilm thing blows away in this little teaser too, as well, at the very beginning. The voiceover was really done well. Overall, this was a really good first teaser. And
now, Cyber, where is Andor?
Andor we don't go to until Return of the Jedi.
Okay, the next series that they talked about today after that Obi-Wan trailer was the next one is Andor. They said it ties into Rogue One.
Okay, so that would still be like right after what's happening in Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series, because Rogue One is supposed to take place right prior to the events of New Hope.
Of New Hope, right? Because I remember watching Rogue One leads right into Star Wars, right into the beginning. Yeah,
that is the mission where they got the Death Star plans so that they could do what they did in New Hope.
Yeah, Rogue One was awesome. I loved that movie, man.
Yeah, that was really
me too.
Well.
Yeah, me too.
That thing was awesome. And they did it perfect, showing they ended it with the beginning scene of Star Wars with Darth Vader standing there looking out, through the cockpit.
Yeah, they did an amazing job.
Yeah, they did. They did a great job.
Peter Cushing's character from the original Star Wars series. That CGI work was so amazing. I really thought he was there. That's how good it was. And but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what Andor is all about. And because I have heard of that being a part of the next Star Wars series.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to all of it, man.
So yeah, I mean, this is great. I'm glad they're expanding on the universe of Star Wars more. I'm glad that they're doing these shorts.
They're making these characters canon now, man. They're making all these characters that we grew up watching. They're making them canon now, where they're actually going to be important. That's what's cool.
Very much so. Very much so. It's just overall, it's going to be really fun to see what Star Wars they bring out. Because I know a lot of people complain that they should stop with the Star Wars because they didn't care too much for the last 3 films. Except for the Force Awakens, for some reason was their favorite. But like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, nobody really liked. They say overall they thought they were crappy, just as crappy as the prequel trilogy.
See, I thought I liked them.
Yeah, I have no problems with any of those films. I enjoyed all of them. I mean, I went and saw all of these films like several times in theaters. I mean, Phantom Menace I saw 6 times. The Attack of the Clones I saw 6 times. Revenge of the Sith I saw 5, and then Force Awakens is the only one I only watched 1 time in theaters, because that one I did not care for because I felt it was a complete ripoff of New Hope. And then Last Jedi I saw 6 times, and Rise of Skywalker I saw 3 times. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm very glad that they're continuing doing this stuff. I like that they're going with these TV series. It's nice to see them kind of expound on some of these areas that they really didn't talk about in the films. So them bringing out this Obi-Wan series, I was so happy that they decided to do this and bring Ewan McGregor back. So this is really nicely
bringing
done.
both of them back. You know, I hope they show us
Hayden
what took
Christensen, yeah.
place.
Exactly, yeah. So we are approaching the 3-hour mark, so we're gonna call it here, people.
Yeah, let's call it.
That was pretty much it for the Disney Day and the Obi-Wan teaser trailer. Hopefully we'll get another trailer soon. But we want to thank all the panel guests that we had tonight. Jay Rent, Ricky from the podcast, amazing podcast that he's a part of. It was nice having Dollface on for the first time. As always JB is always great to have him on here. We love him. He's one of our great fun guests. He was always great in the comments, and it's great to have him face to face here. He's no longer like Mr. Lord Deathman, where we don't get to see him. But not yet, yeah. But it's still great to see him here visually. He's still a great guest. We enjoy him. It's always good to have Mr. TrueKnowledge, Mr. Jeff S., being our Mr. co-host along with me, and he did a great job tonight. Yes, he might think he was long-winded at some points. He might have been a little bit, but other than that, he still did a fantastic job. Good. We always love him being the lead for the night, and he's awesome.
The mission was still accomplished. We still accomplished the mission.
Hey, listen. No matter, at the end of the day, I always want to do my best and try to do a great job and everything and make everything work good. But like, no matter what, whether it's 3 hours or 2 hours or an hour and a half or 5 hours, I have fun and I enjoy the fuck out of talking about Marvel and the MCU. So, you know what I'm saying? And I love talking about Star Wars too, you know, and Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian that I'm watching right now, you know, and try to get through and whatnot and finish. And then, you know what? I'm telling you right now, Cyber, I'm gonna remember and I'm gonna stick to it and stand up and whatnot and sit down and fucking finish Daredevil, man, and get it done. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta wait for it to come back on Disney Plus though, because it's not on Netflix right now.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah,
wow.
They took it off.
Yeah,
it comes out what March 16th, don't it?
Yeah, it's like yes, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you want to take it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I just want to say one thing too quick about the Disney Plus series and like what they said about today and whatnot. So we're gonna get Ms. Marvel. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised about that because, like, you know, the last I heard and the news I heard and everything, and the scuttlebutt there for a while, and I think you guys both know about this too, was that there, like a couple months back, was that something was wrong with Ms. Marvel or something, or like they needed to do reshoots or something like that to where we weren't going to get it until the end of the year. I think that was what they were saying at one point. You know, so I'm actually kind of surprised that Miss Marvel's going to come after Moon Knight. You know,
I was expecting She-Hulk.
Yeah. Honestly, you know what? And honestly, hey, you know what? It could be. This is totally speculation on this. It could be the scheduling and everything, and the order could be for any reason. But honestly, it literally could be a situation where, just like Eternals, you know, they changed things around with the dates and shit, so that when Spider-Man 3 came out right after the Eternals, it kind of covered for like the shittiness of the Eternals movie, you know, and whatnot, and changed and flipped the minds of like the fans. It could be the same thing with Ms. Marvel. They may have She-Hulk. They may have She-Hulk coming out after Ms. Marvel and sandwiched between Moon Knight and She-Hulk because they're scared that Ms. Marvel's going to suck. You know, so hey, we'll see, I guess, right?
Very well.
You know, hey, I'm, as always, I'm optimistic about Marvel Studios. I'm optimistic about the MCU. I believe in the characters. I believe in the productions. I believe in Kevin Feige. But hey, at the same time, I'm allowed to be honest and have my opinions and whatnot. And look, I'm telling you right now, Miss Marvel looks and sounds like a fucking shitbird. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see. But, you know, I don't know. Cyber, if I'm wrong and it ends up being great or like at least like really good or something or like, you know, halfway good, you can go ahead and like rub it in my face when it comes down.
It's definitely going to be different.
Hey, different.
It'll be what it is.
Yo, different.
Leave it at that.
Different is okay and everything and whatnot, but you know, it is what it is. But anyway, so listen, folks, I just want to really quickly point out and thank and let everybody know on Facebook Live and on Facebook the platform and on Twitch. Our few, you know, followers and whatnot, and people on Twitch that do actually catch us on Twitch, you know, and on Facebook. We really appreciate all of you. I at times forget to mention, that we're live on those platforms, that people are on there watching us and whatnot and everything, and all I think about is YouTube here and there and what. So, I just want to point out that we know you're there. You know what I mean? Like, we appreciate you. I see the engagement. I see all the views and whatnot on the lives on Facebook and whatnot after I go on there after. I know you're all there. And I wanted to go ahead and thank, again, too, all of the wonderful, excellent people that have been coming from the Bleeding Edge reactions I make here and there and whatnot, and then coming onto the MCU's Bleeding Edge and whatnot and watching our shows. It's been great, guys. Thank you so much for actually, jumping over the reactions and getting into the meat of what we actually fucking do. You know what I'm saying? Because this is our deal. But anyways, thank you very much to my co-host Cyberneticshark, as always, for having my back and being my brother. You know what I'm saying? And watching out for me. And thank you for Jeff B, as always, for being a wonderful special frequent guest. And literally, as far as I'm concerned, a guest that any podcast on YouTube should be happy to have. So you know what? If you want Jeff B to come on there and fuck with you and grind the show out, just hit me up at the MCU's Bleeding Edge or hit him up on Facebook or some shit. And he'll come on. But anyways, look, for Cyber, for Jeff B and Jeff S, for J Rent, and for Ricky, peace. MCU's Bleeding Edge, out.
Thanks, you guys.
島本刑事、とどめを刺せ。やめろ、島本刑事、やめろ、やめろ。どうだな、助けに来た男に殺される気分は。鉄十字団に恨みを持つ麻薬刑事さ。スパイダーストリング、格闘技世界チャンピオンスパイダーマン。
There you go, folks. That's how we like to close it out here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. You know what I'm saying? A little
when you close it out.
Yeah.